The escalation comes after Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed responsibility for a missile attack on a US airbase and command center in Jordan. The US military says all the missiles were intercepted. Even as airstrikes continue, CENTCOM says it is strictly enforced.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Republic. I'm Aditi Bhardwaj and lots lined up in this news edition. We'll talk about the Kaveri water row that is emerging once again, a key battle between two states. Why they are fighting, what are the demands, we'll tell you more in detail. First up, let's take a look at the headlines.
Headlines brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Security beefed up in Kashmir after the cowardly attack on Hindus. Kulgam police reviewing security camera surveillance following the terror attack. National Conference President Farooq Abdullah's controversial statement on terror attack in Kulgam, even after Lashkar proxy claims responsibility. Farooq says didn't know who's behind attacks. India's medal rush continues at Commonwealth Games. 7 golds in boxing take India's medal tally to 39 on historic day 10. Grand welcome at New Delhi Airport for Indian medalists who return home after the Commonwealth Games success. Indian boxer Lavlina objects to a wrong map of India printed on napkins of a restaurant in Glasgow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches Nasha Mukt Yuva for Viksit Bharat Sankalp Abhiyan. 100-week anti-drug campaign begins. Starting off with the breaking inputs coming in, a landslide has been reported in Shivamoga's district of Karnataka. 3 members of the same family have unfortunately been killed in this landslide. This landslide occurred in the Shivamoga district of Karnataka. Remember, this is as per the monsoon fury that is unraveling in Karnataka, after which in the landslide 3 people of the same family have now died. These are the visuals of the rescue operation that was underway for rescuing after several people were reportedly injured and trapped in these landslides that erupted in Karnataka and Shivamoga area. You can see how Herculean task of the rescue and search operation was underway to save lives, but unfortunately 3 people of the same family have died. This landslide occurred in Tirthali town of Shivamoga district due to continuous rainfall and the monsoon. The rescue operation also witnessed several hurdles, but despite that 3 people including a child have died. 3 members of the same family also included a 3-year-old child who has been killed in this unfortunate news coming in from Karnataka. These are the visuals of the rescue operations, how the team managed to rescue several people, but difficulty began when the rain, the continuous downpour made it difficult for the rescue operation to be continued in the area. Shivamoga, remember, is prone to landslides and is prone to more landslides in the area, but in the monsoon weather, in the rainfall scenario. This is the latest that we are picking in, that a landslide has been reported in Karnataka's Shivamoga and 3 people from the same family have died, including a 3-year-old child. Remember, this is an area where it is prone to landslides amid this weather, and hence more news is coming in. Not only in Karnataka, but in Kerala's Idukki as well, a landslide has been reported where the same scenario happened. Apart from that, we are unaware of the killings that took place. But in Shivamoga, a place where it is timely to see that the rescue operations that were launched in the area have now been concluded. Now, the political slugfest has begun over the Kulgam terror attack after National Conference President Farooq Abdullah claimed that he doesn't know who's behind terror attacks. BJP has hit back with the BJP now claiming that this is what trivializing of the terror attack happens whenever a terror attack happens in the country. The opposition is quick to jump to conclusions and trivialize it with questioning it in an attempt to spread confusion, in an attempt to mislead people. Listen in to what the BJP had to say.
कुलगाम में निर्दोष प्रवासी मजदूरों की हत्या एक जघन्य आतंकीय कृत्य है जो कठोर निंदनीय है, अमानवीय घटना है। ऐसे समय में आतंकियों के और उनके आकाओं पर सवाल उठाने के बजाय, उसका विरोध करने के बजाय संदेह और भ्रम फैलाने का फारूक अब्दुल्ला का प्रयास बेहद गैर जिम्मेदाराना, पाकिस्तान प्रायोजित आतंकी और पाकिस्तान में बैठे उनके आकाओं को बचाने का प्रोपोगंडा है। अब्दुल्ला परिवार को पाकिस्तान के पीआरओ की भूमिका निभाना बंद करना चाहिए। मत रहिए पीआरओ की भूमिका में। देश की जनता ये जानती है कि आतंकवाद के विरुद्ध ये नेता 2 शब्द भी स्पष्ट रूप से नहीं बोलते हैं। घटना निंदनीय है, अमानवीय है।
Now, why this war of words is erupting? Listen in to what National Conference President Farooq Abdullah had to say.
देखिए, पुलिस के अफसर को भी अभी उन्होंने शहीद किया। ये जो मजदूरों को भी इन्होंने गोली मारी। मैं तो यही कहूंगा कि भाई पहले बताओ ये मारने वाले कौन है। आप तो कहते हैं कि आतंकवाद खत्म हो गया, तो अगर आतंकवाद खत्म हो गया तो ये मारने वाला कौन है? इसको जरा साबित लाइए ना, सामने लाइए, हम भी देखें, दुनिया देखे। मैं तो यार लोग मारे जाते हैं और कुछ नहीं कहा जाता, टेररिस्ट ने मार दिया। अरे आया कहाँ से? बॉर्डर तो पूरा अंडर कंट्रोल है, कौन है मारने वाला?
सर, कहा जाता था कि हालात बदलेंगे 2019 के बाद।
आप देख रहे हैं कितने बदल गए। आतंकवाद क्या खत्म हो गया? जो सारे दुनिया में डंडूरा मारते हैं, हम तो कहते हैं हमारा स्टेटहुड वापस करो। स्टेटहुड वापस दे दीजिए, क्यों नहीं दे रहे?
And joining me is Zinat from Jammu Kashmir. Zinat, despite clear labeling that the terror attack happened, the opposition in fact now National Conference President Farooq Abdullah is still questioning who's behind the attack, and the BJP says that it is just another way of the opposition to mislead people.
We are seeing the controversial statements coming in from National Conference President Farooq Abdullah when he questions the government of India about the claim of normalcy in Kashmir Valley. He has raised the questions like that after abrogation of Article 370, government claims that in Kashmir it is normalcy, peace, and we are rushing towards development. Well, that balloon has busted. Seeing the kind of situation that is prevailing in the Kashmir Valley, because in the last 10 days, 2 of the attacks had taken place in which 3 people lost their life. A cop from the J&K police and the 2 migrant laborers. He even asked that where from this terrorists had come, when the claim is that border is under control. And he further says that who are the people behind the killings, they should be identified and should be brought before the public. We have been seeing the Farooq Abdullah making the controversial statement about the identity of the terrorists when it's quite known the Pakistan's involvement in the killings of the 3 individuals in the Kashmir Valley. So Pakistan is desperate to spread more fear, to keep the pot boiling, because next week we are going to have the abrogation of Article 370's anniversary, for which PDP has already announced the peaceful protest across district. National Conference is targeting central government when it comes to the restoration of the statehood. So Kashmir witnessed these kind of killings in a way destabilized situation, and
Right.
BJP is then training the guns towards the National Conference that they are greedy people. They have been the spokesperson of the Pakistan. They have been singing the tunes of Pakistan. When it comes to LG Manoj Sinha, who is taking care of the security of Jammu and Kashmir, straight away dealing with the security and the peace in the Kashmir Valley, we are seeing that heightened measures once again being taken by the J&K government, J&K police administration, as we are showing you the visuals of the
Right.
CCTV cameras that have been put along the national highway for the security of the locals as well as for the yatris or the tourists.
Right, so the stage is being set, as you pointed out, that the Article 370 anniversary is just around this week, and that's why the political slugfest is only escalating with the opposition. Thank you so much, Zeenat, for highlighting. Now, as Surat is around the corner to face the 3rd flood threat, the district administration has stepped up its preparedness measures. Following the incessant rain, the flooding in Kadodra village in Surat, the Indian Army rescued 34 people and distributed relief material to more than 400 residents. The operation was carried out in coordination with the civil administration and teams from the Indian Army's Southern Command. Take a look at our report.
Torrential monsoon rains have triggered severe waterlogging and flood-like conditions across parts of Gujarat. Severe waterlogging was witnessed in Kadodra village in Surat district following incessant rains and flooding. Soon after the waterlogging, the Indian Army deployed flood relief columns to assist affected residents. According to officials, the Indian Army successfully rescued 34 civilians and also distributed relief material to more than 400 residents. Equipped with boats and life-saving equipment, the team continue to provide assistance and remain prepared for further contingencies. As the weather continues to remain severe, the authorities in Narmada district have also launched Operation Safe Delivery to ensure that pregnant women receives timely medical care.
Thirteen people were killed after a sightseeing plane carrying foreign tourists crashed near Peru's famous Narca lines on Saturday. Authorities say the aircraft went down shortly after taking off from Pisco Airport for a scenic flight over the ancient geoflights. Now, the victims included tourists from Italy, Spain and Germany. Officials have launched an investigation into the cause of the crash, while Peru's tourism ministry is coordinating with the victims' embassies and assisting their families. Take a look.
A sightseeing plane carrying foreign tourists crashed near Peru's Nazca lines, killing all 13 people on board. Officials say the aircraft went down shortly after departing Pisco Airport for a scenic flight over the ancient Nazca geoglyphs. The victims included tourists from Italy, Spain and Germany, according to Peru's media. Plane crashed in the Pueblo Viejo area near the Nazca Archaeological Reserve, officials said. Prosecutors and emergency crews were dispatched to the crash site to recover the victims and begin the investigation. Peru's tourism ministry says it is coordinating with the victims' embassies and providing assistance to their families. Authorities are now investigating the cause of the crash, as the private operator Aerodiana has yet to comment on the tragedy.
Shifting our focus to now Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, where Pakistani forces opened fire at protesters in fresh provocation. Civilians fired upon in Subri Lake area of Muzaffarabad. Several protesters injured in fresh firing. Remember, this escalated after recently held elections in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, where the residents boycotted the elections and claimed that the army's brutalities will not be entertained anymore. Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir has clearly stated that they do not want to be under the control of Pakistan, and Shehbaz Sharif and Asim Munir should give up their right on the Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. These are the visuals of that fresh provocation that took place in Muzaffarabad. The more visuals coming in of the army's brutality that has been happening since the recently held elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, that was just the first phase. There are two more phases left in the POJK elections, but the army's brutalities, the videos and the barbarity in which the army is opening fire at protesters, they are attacking civilians in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir is nothing new, but has been seen time and again. In fact, India has condemned the killings of many POJK residents, but despite that, Pakistan is shameless that it is not stopping its brutalities, and the barbarity is caught on camera. The Joint Action Awami Committee is also highlighting the human rights violation happening in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Despite that, despite the outrage, there is no end to the provocation that is happening. This is Pakistan Army just targeting innocent civilians. My colleague Gursimran is also joining me with more details. Gursimran, tell us about why the Pakistani Army is refusing to accept the demands of the Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir residents. It is clear they do not wish to be in Pakistan.
See, if we speak of the present situation, the foremost priority of what the Pakistani establishment seems to be that they want to legitimize the elections that are taking place in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. We are on the day when the second phase of elections are taking place, and just in a couple of minutes from now, the second phase of polling will also come to an end. This includes 9 seats of Muzaffarabad and 12 of those seats of the Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir migrants that live in the different parts of Pakistan-occupied rest of Pakistan. That is a point of contention between the Joint Awami Action Committee and the Pakistani establishment, be it the federal government or the Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir government. Because if you speak of the 38-point charter, it was one of the point of contentions on which the consensus could not be made, and the entire talks have collapsed completely. Otherwise, rest of the demands were being considered by the Pakistani federal government. Now coming to the today's incident, it was in the Subri Lake area where the protesters were. They were holding the protest, and then all of a sudden Pakistani security forces started pounding shells on them. They were fired upon, in which several of the protesters have been injured. Whether the injuries are fatal or non-fatal in nature, it is yet to be ascertained. Reason being the limited information that is flowing from there due to the complete communication blackdown that has taken place.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gursimran, for these details. Shifting our focus now, Assam continues to battle the aftermath of severe floods, though the situation has shown signs of improvement. The number of affected people has come down to 1.78 lakh, while the death toll remains at 82. However, 7 districts are still impacted, with other areas and the rivers flowing above danger levels. Take a look at this report.
Assam's flood situation is showing marginal improvement, with the number of affected people dropping to 1.78 lakh. The death toll remains at 82, with no fresh casualties reported in the last 24 hours. 7 districts are still battling the flood impact. The Dikhau and Dhansiri rivers continue to flow above danger levels, keeping authorities on alert. Assam's flood crisis is fueled by heavy monsoon rains, the mighty Brahmaputra system, massive silt deposits, and relentless riverbank erosion. Nearly 40% of Assam lies in the Brahmaputra floodplains. During monsoon, swollen rivers spill over, inundating homes, farms, and infrastructure.
Viewers, in a record-breaking weekend for India at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, the medal tally now stands at 39 with 13 goals. And after their mega feat, Indian athletes arrived at Delhi airport today after scripting history at the Commonwealth Games. The champions were given a grand welcome on their return home, and the Republic spoke to the champions who were arriving at the airport. Take a listen.
मैं बहुत ज़्यादा खुश हूँ। इंडिया के लिए मैंने मेडल दिया है और मैं बहुत प्राउड फील करती हूँ। मैं ऐसा मणिपुर से मैं बिलोंग करती हूँ, तो मैं ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा खुश हूँ। मैंने इंडिया के लिए कुछ करके दिखाया। थैंक यू। मैं बहुत ज़्यादा खुश हूँ। इंडिया के लिए मैंने मेडल दिया है और मैं बहुत प्राउड फील करती हूँ। मैं ऐसा मणिपुर से मैं बिलोंग करती हूँ, तो मैं ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा खुश हूँ। मैंने इंडिया के लिए कुछ करके दिखाया। थैंक यू।
ये तो हम बहुत खुशी, क्या बोलूँगे, ज़रा खुशी तो खुशी ज़रा हो गया, क्योंकि इतना सपोर्ट करेंगे तो हम कैसे।
ज़्यादा खुशी नेवी को देख के हुई या मेथी को देख के?
नहीं, नेवी कोई सेम है, इक्वल है मेरे तरफ से। हम एक ही साथ है, इसलिए हम एक ही मेडल लेके दुनिया के लिए सेम है।
ऋषिकांता, आपके पिताजी इस समय जोधपुर में अस्पताल में है, ब्लड कैंसर से जंग लड़ रहे हैं। कैसा लगेगा उनको जब उनको पता चलेगा कि आप देश को गर्व महसूस करवा रहे हैं?
वो तो बहुत दुखी के बाद हूँ पापा। अभी पापा बहुत खुशी है। पापा पहले से बहुत बेटर हो गया, अभी ठीक में चल रहा, बहुत बेटर है।
एक समय था जब आप बतौर मजदूर भी काम करते थे, 150 रुपए दिन की दिहाड़ी पर भी आपने काम किया है, और अब जब आप देश के लिए सिल्वर मेडल जीत कर लाए हैं एक इंटरनेशनल स्टेज पर, आगे की रणनीति आपके लिए क्या होगी?
ये मैंने करके दिखाया, क्योंकि मैं पहले डाउन था, बीच में ब्रेक हुआ था। अभी जो मैंने टारगेट है, मेरा सपना है, मैंने करके दिखाया।
लवप्रीत, कैसा लगता है आपको देश को एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय लेवल पर मेडल जिताकर, और अभी इंडियन नेवी हम देख सकते हैं कि वो भी खुद आपको सम्मानित करने के लिए यहाँ पे मौजूद है, तो आप कैसा महसूस कर रहे हैं?
मैं पहला ही सारे का बहुत बहुत थैंक यू करना चाहता जी, अपने डिपार्टमेंट का सारे जिन्हें भी अपने आए हैं स्वागत कर ली, सारा धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा।
अपनी तैयारी के बारे में बताइए कि कितनी लंबी तैयारी थी और आगे की रणनीति क्या होगी, क्योंकि कॉमनवेल्थ गेम जाहिर तौर पर एक बड़ा मंच है, पर इसके आगे क्या?
सर जिदा ही हमने अपने इतों 2-2.5-3 साल तो इतने ट्रेनिंग कर रहे जी, अपने वेट लिफ्टिंग वॉरियर्स अकेडमी मोदी नगर। हाँ जी,
उन लोगों ने, क्योंकि 11 में से 8 लोग कम से कम एक मेडल लेकर आए हैं देश के लिए। कैसा महसूस करते हैं आप पूरी टीम के लिए, क्योंकि पूरी वेट लिफ्टिंग टीम में 11 लोगों ने हिस्सा लिया था, जिनमें से 8 लोग में से कम एक मेडल जीतकर देश के लिए लेकर आए हैं?
सर मैं सारे जिदा भी बच्चे अपने प्लेयर सारे वधिया मेडल आए, सारे 8 मेडल आए अपने टीम के सारे ने। मैं अपने जिन्ने भी सपोर्टर जिन्ने भी मेहनत करवाई, कोच साहब होना, सारे का धन्यवाद करना।
जॉइनिंग मी ऑन द ब्रॉडकास्ट इज हरजिंदर सिंह। मैम, कैसा लग रहा है देश का अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर प्रतिनिधित्व करते हुए, और पूरे देश को आप पर गर्व है, रिपब्लिक मीडिया नेटवर्क आप पर बहुत गर्व महसूस करता है, कैसा लग रहा है आपको?
हमें बहुत खुशी हो रही है, हम इंडिया के लिए मेडल लेके आए हैं, हमारे लिए बहुत प्राउड की बात है।
व्हाट इज अप नेक्स्ट? इसके बाद किस चीज़ पर आप अपनी नज़र गड़ा के बैठी हुई हैं? एक कॉमनवेल्थ मेडल आ चुका है, इसके आगे आपके लिए क्या प्लान ऑफ एक्शन होगा?
आगे वाले जो भी कंपटीशन होंगे उसके लिए हम अच्छी तैयारी करेंगे, होप इससे अच्छे हम परफॉर्मेंस दे के आएँ।
मैम, सिर्फ आपने ही नहीं बल्कि 11 लोग।
A major migration crisis has unfolded at the Morocco-Spain border as thousands of migrants attempted to reach the Spanish enclave of Ceuta in search of better opportunities. Spanish authorities responded by deploying troops to restore order and tighten security. Take a look.
This week, Spain has been all over international headlines. Reports of thousands of migrants entering the country in a matter of days, visuals of crowds breaking through barriers, chaos at a border, deaths being reported. For most people watching this from outside Europe, the natural picture that comes to mind is a boat crossing. People sailing across open sea to reach Spain. That picture is where the confusion begins. Because the Spain that is actually seeing this crisis right now is not the Spain most people picture on a map at all. On 30th July, a crowd Spanish authorities estimated at around 6,000 people broke through a border fence in North Africa. By Friday, that number had grown further, with officials saying around 50,000 migrants had crossed into Spanish territory. Now pull up a map of Spain and you get the country everyone knows. Madrid, Barcelona, the Mediterranean coast, that Spain is in Europe. Now look south, across the water, at the top edge of Africa. There is a second patch of Spain sitting right there, on the African coastline. Its name is Ceuta. 14 kilometers of the Strait of Gibraltar separate the two, narrower than most big cities. Ceuta is not a base, not a colony, not disputed land in some grey legal zone. It is an ordinary Spanish city of about 80,000 people, with a port, an old town, apartment blocks, traffic jams, and a hill called Monte Hacho, with a lighthouse staring back at Europe. Spanish police, Spanish law, Spanish passports, full European Union membership. Someone standing in Ceuta is legally standing in the same country as someone standing in Madrid. The only unusual part is that none of it is in Europe. Zoom east along the Moroccan coast. A few hundred kilometers east along the same coastline sits Melilla, Spain's second African city. Melilla has been Spanish since 1497. Ceuta passed to the Spanish crown in 1580. Both are older than the United States, older than most flags flying today. Together, they are the only place on earth where the European Union shares a land border with Africa. Now put it together. 1. Ceuta physically sits on Africa. 2. It shares a land border with Morocco, a real one, with fences, razor wire, watchtowers, and checkpoints. 3. Crossing that border is not a step towards reaching Spain someday. It is reaching Spain immediately. Nobody sails into Ceuta, they walk into it. Which leaves the last piece of the puzzle. That fence has been there for decades. Nothing about the geography changed on Thursday. So what did? Ceuta's own authorities point to a ruling by Spain's Supreme Court earlier this month. It stopped officials from turning people back immediately, without proper process if they arrived by sea. Word of it spread on the Moroccan side, and crowds began building in the border town of Finidec. Here is the twist. That ruling never applied to people entering by land. And activists in Morocco argue most of those who crossed would never have heard of a Spanish court judgment at all. Spain's Prime Minister called the surge an attack on Spanish territorial integrity. Morocco's ambassador said her country did not want it either. Nobody has fully explained the timing. Once it began, rather than climb the fence, most people simply walked around the end of the breakwater where it runs into the sea, wading and swimming a short stretch of shallow water onto a Spanish beach. That short stretch is where they died. Some drowned, others were crushed as the crowd pushed forward. Within roughly a day, Spain's Interior Ministry put the number at close to 50,000 people, into a city of 80,000. The local president said it was the equivalent of 1 million people entering mainland Spain overnight. Spain sent the army, deployed Navy divers, and ordered floating barriers into the water. More than 48,000 people were returned to Morocco almost as fast as they had arrived. So the next time a headline says thousands crossed into Spain, remember there are two Spains. And the one at the center of the crisis in the summer of 2026 was never across an ocean at all. It was on the other side of a fence, on the wrong continent, 14 kilometers from Europe.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो।
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
सबका राजा आरती और मसाला।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट।
अब बताओ, स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say Modi ji clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
आपको समझ ना आए तो आप घर जाके गूगल पे आप सर्च कर लेना, ये क्या नारा है। वो नारा देते थे वास्ते गुने हुइयां, और वो नारा देते थे इतने प्यार से, इतनी खूबसूरत तरीके से इस्तीफा मांगते थे। कहते थे जब आपसे इस्तीफा भी मांगते थे तो कहते थे कुचू पुचू इस्तीफा दे दो, आज हमारा जन्मदिन है।
विपक्ष की
विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया, तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं।
So these are the three categories: student, idiot, and andhbhakt who follows the idiot. Now,
प्रश्न है कि खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ। खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बना। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 1 अधिनियम सूत्र और विधेयक का पूरा नाम विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ।
जिन लोगों ने विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ किया, वे जेलों में सड़ रहे हैं। हमें मात्र एक कोर्ट बना।
अध्यक्ष जी, जहां पर कांग्रेस शासित यूपीए ने पॉलिसी वैक्यूम करा, वहीं पर अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say मोदी जी clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
जेनजी की भाषा में मैं, अरे सुनो यार, सुनो, सुनने की आदत रखो।
18,10,000 पौधों का रोपण अभी तक हुआ है और 18,10,000 पौधों से जो है जो हमारा ग्रीन बेल्ट का एरिया कवर हुआ है वो लगभग 630 हेक्टेयर एरिया ग्रीन बेल्ट में तब्दील हो गया है। और उसका जो है मॉनिटरिंग, रिपेयरिंग और मेंटेनेंस वो प्रॉपर जो है पूरे जो है 10 साल के पूरे प्लांटेशन पे किया जाता है टाइम पर। और यहाँ पर नर्सरी जो है वो लगभग जो है 5 लाख से अधिक पौधों की नर्सरी अभी हमारे पास है। जैसा कि हमारे पास 4 पार्टों में नर्सरी बटी हुई है। जहाँ हम लोग अभी खड़े हैं ये जो है सबसे पुरानी और पहली नर्सरी है। और हमारे पास जो नर्सरी में पौधे अवेलेबल हैं वो लगभग छत्तीसगढ़ की जो है 36 वैरायटियों का पौधा उपलब्ध है। तो इसके लिए हम लोग एयर लेयरिंग के द्वारा जो है लगभग 10,000 पौधे हर साल जो है एयर लेयरिंग से तैयार करते हैं, जिसमें से मुख्य रूप से जो रहते हैं पीपल, बरगद और आपका जो है गूलर, अमरूद, इस टाइप के पौधों को हम लोग एयर लेयरिंग से तैयार करते हैं। अभी तक अगर हम बात करें तो पीपल के लगभग 10,000 पौधों से अधिक हमारे ग्रीन बेल्ट एरिया में जो है रोपण किया गया है।
ज़मीन हमारा अधिग्रहण हुआ, उसी के बेस पे हमारा नौकरी लगा है। हम नर्सरी में रहते हैं, नर्सरी में अपना पौधा उगाते हैं, पौधा उगा के तैयार करके साइड में भी देते हैं, गांव वालों को भी ज़रूरत पड़ने पर देते हैं। अच्छा लगता है यहाँ नर्सरी में रहने से और सुकून मिलता है। नर्सरी घूमने फिरने से हरा भरा दिखता है।
Over 18 lakh trees have been planted by the mine's horticulture team, along with 40 lakh trees worth of compensatory afforestation done by the Forest Department of the Chhattisgarh government. As green cover expands across 600 hectares, one thing becomes clear. Environmental restoration is not just about planting trees. It's about nurturing livelihoods, resilience, and a more sustainable future.
बायोडाइवर्सिटी के लिए हम लोग काफ़ी काम किए हैं। हम लोगों ने जो है बीच बीच में तालाब भी बनाया है जानवरों को पानी पीने के लिए। पहले तो सर स्टार्टिंग में चिड़िया वगैरह बहुत नहीं दिखती थी, लोग जो है मार के उसको ले जाते थे। अभी हमारे जंगलों में चिड़िया काफ़ी आ गई है। तो सर ये देख करके हम लोगों को काफ़ी अच्छा लगता है कि हम लोगों ने जो मेहनत किया है आज वो हमारे सामने दिख।
महिला सशक्तिकरण के उद्देश्य से इस डेयरी प्रोजेक्ट का स्थापना हुआ है, जिससे यहाँ पे हमारी 250 जो दीदी हैं उनके संचालित करती हैं, जिसमें से हम लोग यहाँ पे 6 लोग पोस्टेड हैं, जिससे मतलब यहाँ प्रतिदिन 45 से 50 लीटर दूध का उत्पादन होता है, जो अदानी विद्या मंदिर में जाता है और कहीं अगर किसी को ज़रूरत है गांव में तो वो अपने ले जाते हैं। इससे मेन उद्देश्य इसका ये है कि हमारे यहाँ जैसे यहाँ पहले देसी गाय पाला जाता था, जिससे कि लोगों के अंदर जो है मिल्क के लिए, दूध के उत्पादन के लिए कहीं अगर ज़रूरत पड़ता था तो लोग इधर उधर भटकते थे। आज उनको एक आइडिया भी मिला कि हमको अपने ही घर यहाँ के क्लाइमेक्स में क्रॉस ब्रीड जानवर पाल के हम अधिक दूध उत्पादन करके और वो अपने आप में आत्मनिर्भर हो सकते हैं। लगभग इनको प्रति माह 15 से 20 हज़ार रुपये की प्रॉफिट हो रही है।
It's not just newly acquired skills that are empowering female participation at work. It's also the acquired skills which they perfected for decades and now are putting to use in amazing fashion.
मैं घर में कुछ काम नहीं करती थी, इसके बाद धीरे धीरे सिलाई सीखी। इसके बाद मैं यही काम करती हूँ, 5-6 साल हो गया।
महिला लोग हैं तारा, परसा, घाटबर्रा, सालही, स्कूल का यूनिफॉर्म बच्चे लोगों का हम लोग यही महिला लोगों से ही करवा रहे हैं।
Thanks to the efforts of the women of Hasdeo, the children can get free meals and uniforms.
और यहाँ पे हम लोग जो बच्चे हैं वो स्वयं हम लोग के बच्चे आते हैं यहाँ पे खाने के लिए, और हम लोग ब्रेकफास्ट से लेकर लंच तक का काम करते हैं यहाँ पे। बड़ी उपलब्धि तो ये है कि हम उन बच्चों को यहाँ पे फल दे रहे हैं। हम 1000
हुए 13 साल हो चुके हैं।
The Adani Vidya Mandir boasts of an impressive 1,000 students, with 95% of the strength being kids from the local tribal communities. All classes, stationery, uniform, meals and to and fro transportation are free of cost for these students.
जब ये इस्टेब्लिश हुआ था तो बहुत ही कम ग्रामीण आते थे यहाँ पे अपने बच्चों को पढ़ाने के लिए। अटेंडेंस भी बहुत पुअर रहती थी। अभी आज हमारे पास 1000 से ज़्यादा बच्चे। ये CBSE इंग्लिश मीडियम एफिलिएटेड स्कूल है। कोई भी ऐसा बच्चा हमारे यहाँ जो पढ़ता है वो ये नहीं कह सकता कि जो फैसिलिटीज़ इनको मिलती हैं वो मेट्रो सिटी में नहीं मिलती होंगी। सारे क्लासेस यहाँ पे स्मार्ट बोर्ड हैं, इंटरनेट के कनेक्शन दिए गए हैं। CBSE की जो पढ़ाई होती है उसमें ये क्लास नर्सरी से लेकर क्लास 12 तक की होती है। क्लास 11th और 12th में ह्यूमैनिटीज़ और साइंस 2 स्ट्रीम्स हैं। हमारे बच्चे विगत 3-4 वर्षों में काफ़ी अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं और ये IIT और दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी जैसे जगहों पे इन्होंने क्लास 12 के बाद में हमारा एडमिशन लिया हुआ है।
In our school we play many activities. We see whatever we want to play and do many activities in, and we have many labs like physics lab, chemistry lab, biology lab. We have our own sports room in which we play many sports, and in our school there are many people and many students who have gone to SIA, the Sports Indian Academy of Sports. There are many people who plays and very well they play. वो सब वॉलीबॉल खेलते हैं, फुटबॉल भी खेलते हैं, हमें बॉक्सिंग भी सिखाई जाती है, आर्चरी की भी क्लासेस होती हैं, और हमें हमारे बहुत सारे सब्जेक्ट टीचर्स भी हैं जो हमें बहुत अच्छे से समझाते हैं। जैसे कि हमें फ़िज़िक्स ज़्यादातर समझ नहीं आता ज़्यादा स्टूडेंट्स को, बट फ़िज़िक्स हमारे लिए बहुत ईजी होता है आजकल, और जितने भी डिफ़िकल्ट सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं हमारे लिए वो भी ईजी होते हैं आजकल।
बच्चे यहाँ पे बहुत खुश होके आते हैं, वो चाहे बच्चे नर्सरी के हों या 12th के हों, सारे ही बच्चे बहुत खुश होकर स्कूल आते हैं, इंटरेस्टेड हैं आने के लिए और डेली आते भी हैं वो। उनका यहाँ पे सर्वांगीण विकास होता है। पढ़ाई के अलावा भी हम उनको अदर एक्टिविटीज़ में इन्वॉल्व रखते हैं।
With modern learning facilities, a supportive environment and a focus on holistic development, schools are helping young minds build the knowledge and confidence needed to pursue opportunities that were once beyond reach. Here, every classroom is nurturing not just students, but the future of an entire community.
बड़ी अच्छी देखने वाली बात यहाँ पे ये है कि जितने हमारे लड़के हैं उससे 10 से 15 लड़कियाँ ही ज़्यादा रहती हैं, तो ये बहुत अच्छी ग्रामीण अंचल में एक बात हमें देखने को आ रही है। हमारा ध्येय ये है कि जैसे जैसे हम इनको ट्रेन कर रहे हैं तो हमारे पास बच्चा 10 साल 12 साल तक रहेगा। ये 10 से 12 साल तक बच्चा रहेगा तो फर्स्ट जनरेशन लर्नर ना कहला के जब इसकी सेकेंड जनरेशन हमें आएगी, अब हमने एक चरण पूरा कर लिया है, जब सेकेंड जनरेशन आएगी तो इनका जो पढ़ाई की तरफ रुझान लगाव रहेगा वो बहुत ज़्यादा रहेगा। एक समय ऐसा था कि जब हमारे क्लासेस में 50 to 60% ही अटेंडेंस होती थी। बच्चे जो महुआ बीनने जाते थे, बच्चे जो हैं खेतों में रहते थे, जैसे अभी धान का मौसम है, धान बोने का मौसम है, तो वहाँ चले जाते थे बच्चे। तो ये, और जब धान कटाई आती है फिर बच्चे चले जाते हैं, फिर जब एग्ज़ाम्स आते हैं तो महुआ बीनने चले जाते हैं। तो ये बच्चे उस वक्त जाते थे। अब ये है कंडीशन हमारी कि सारी क्लासेस हमारी फुल हैं, सारी बसेस हमारी फुल हो जाती हैं। अटेंडेंस हमारी जो है, जो एवरेज हमारा 45 to 55% रहता था, वो हमारा एवरेज अब 85 to 95% चला गया है। तो ये हमारी एक तरह से अचीवमेंट है कि जो पेरेंट्स का जो रिस्पॉन्स आ रहा है पढ़ाने के लिए। पहले क्लासेस में जो हमारी जो स्ट्रेंथ है 80 की, उससे शॉर्ट रह जाता था। अब हमारी स्ट्रेंथ जो है हमको लॉटरी करनी पड़ती है ताकि उसमें हम एडमिशन दे पाएँ बच्चों को।
Today, locals at Hasdeo reflect on a transformation that goes beyond infrastructure. These changes are supporting livelihoods, improving quality of life, and creating an environment where families can look to the future with greater confidence. Together, they represent the progress of a region moving steadily towards sustainable and inclusive development.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है, स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but, you know, we got to smack them a little bit.
The United States has launched airstrikes on Iran hours after President Donald Trump warned Tehran of a strong military response. The strikes mark the first major American attack since Trump paused the bombing campaign last week. Trump had earlier vowed to hit Iran very hard after an Iranian missile attack on an American base in Jordan. Within hours, US forces launched retaliatory strikes, escalating tensions across the Middle East.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but, you know, we got to smack them a little bit. Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But no, they sent 8,000 mile-an-hour missiles at us, and fortunately we had our people operating the greatest equipment in the world, namely the Patriot system. Think of it, 5 missiles going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us, and all 5 were shot down. How about that, right? Pretty good. Nobody else could do that but us, yeah.
US forces began launching strikes against Iran at 8 p.m. ET today. The strikes are a powerful response to yesterday's attempted Iranian attacks on US forces based in the Middle East. The escalation comes after Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed responsibility for a missile attack on a US airbase and command center in Jordan. The US military says all the missiles were intercepted. even as airstrikes continue, CENTCOM says it is strictly enforcing the American blockade against Iran. As of July 29, US forces have redirected 20 commercial vessels, disabled 2 and boarded 2 others.
And now viewers, shifting focus, Orissa is reeling under flood waters as several areas have been inundated after flood have ravaged several districts of Orissa after the severe rainfall that made the river swell and waterlogged several districts in Orissa. Although the state rescue forces and the NDRF are working towards rescuing people, so far 23 people have been rescued from the flood waters, and although the waters have receded, their impact is still far, and the people are reeling from the flood that have struck Orissa once again. So let's take a look at this latest visual story and how the flood waters have affected Orissa again.
Hello. Hello. नहीं हाँ 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 पानी पानी बढ़िया करना चाहिए कहाँ से हो जाए ଯାଇଥିଲି କୋଣାର୍କ ବ୍ଲକ ଦାନ କରା ଆଉ ସେଇ ଭିତରେ
Actually, during the last 3 days, we had flood situations in 3 rivers, namely Joloka, Salondi, and Boitroni. And last day only we got a flash flood in Brahmani. Those rivers are receding. Everywhere the levels are coming down to danger level and below that. So the flood situation in Baleshwar, Bhadrak and Jashpur districts are improving. Due to the tidal effect, there is a lot of area being waterlogged and people are there also inside water. It will be improving further by tomorrow.
It was a thrilling experience in this sense that the 3 districts are severely affected. We went from Bhubaneswar to Jajpur, from Jajpur to Bhadrak, from Bhadrak to Baleshwar, then we flew to Kendujhar and returned back via Dhenkanal and Cuttack back to Bhubaneswar. The most of the area are severely affected by the recent flood in Odisha. Till now, 20 districts are affected severely by the recent flood, in which around 100 blocks in 20 districts are affected. 539 Gram Panchayat are affected. 1,458 villages have been severely affected by the recent flood. That apart, in urban local bodies also, 14 local bodies have been affected. That includes 176 wards. The data also suggests that 7,05,232 number of persons have been directly affected.
इन लास्ट 4 days सारा उड़ीसा में भारी बारिश हुआ है। ऐसे अगर आप देखेंगे तो नुआपड़ा एंड बलांगीर जिला में भारी बारिश हुआ है। एंड जो नुआपड़ा बलांगीर का जो बड़ा ब्लॉक है, जैसे बलांगीर का कंटाबांजी हुआ, बंगामुंडा हुआ, टिटलागढ़ हुआ, यहाँ पे भी बहुत भारी बारिश हुआ है। तो यहाँ पे जो नदी जाते हैं, तीनों नदी, जैसे उंदेर हुआ, जैसे तेल नदी हुआ, तो वहाँ पे पानी भारी तादाद में चल रहा है। तो आपका बंगामुंडा ब्लॉक में कम से कम 3-4 विलेज थे जहाँ लोग फंस गए थे नदी का अंदर। एक गंधरला एक विलेज है जहाँ 5 लोग फंस गए थे, और एक सुंडी मुंडा एक विलेज है जहाँ 4 लोग फंस गए थे नदी का अंदर, और एक विलेज है टिटलागढ़ का गंधरा, तो वहाँ में भी 4 लोग फंस गए थे। तो 13 लोगों को कल रात हमने रेस्क्यू किया विद द हेल्प ऑफ फायर टीम एंड विद द हेल्प ऑफ स्टेट डिजास्टर एक्शन फोर्स, तो ओड्राफ जिसको बोलते हैं, ओडिशा डिजास्टर रैपिड एक्शन फोर्स। उसका बाद आज सुबह बिनेकला में भी 6 लोग फंस गए थे, और एक जगह में 4 लोग फंस गए थे। तो कुल मिला के आप अगर देखेंगे तो ड्यूरिंग लास्ट 24 आवर्स वी हैव रेस्क्यूड 23 पीपुल out of the flood water with the
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा, आर प्योर मसाला।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े। चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say Modi ji clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
आपको समझ ना आए तो आप घर जाके गूगल पे आप सर्च कर लेना ये क्या नारा है। वो नारा देते थे वास्ते गुने हुइयां, और वो नारा देते थे इतने प्यार से, इतनी खूबसूरत तरीके से इस्तीफा मांगते थे। कहते थे जब आपसे इस्तीफा भी मांगते थे तो कहते थे कुचू पुचू इस्तीफा दे दो, आज हमारा जन्मदिन है।
विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया, तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं।
So these are the three categories: student, idiot, and andbhakt who follows the idiot. Now,
प्रश्न है कि खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ। खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बना। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 1 अधिनियम सूत्र और विधेयक का पूरा नाम विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ। लोगों ने विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ किया, वे जेलों में सड़ रहे हैं। हमने मास्टर कोर्ट बना।
अध्यक्ष जी, जहां पर कांग्रेस शासित यूपीए ने पॉलिसी वैक्यूम करा, वहीं पर अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say Modi ji clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
जेनजी की भाषा में मैं, अरे सुनो यार, सुनने की आदत रखो। जेनजी की भाषा में विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया, तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं। तो क्या हो गया फिर? आंदोलन क्यों किया आपने? उनको फोमो हुआ, फियर ऑफ मिसिंग आउट। अरे बच्चे यहाँ पर आंदोलन कर रहे हैं, हम क्या कर रहे हैं? तो हम चले गए PM आवास पर। अरे सुनो, आगे
आप अपना समाप्त
फोमो होने के बाद लहू, इनको डेलुलू
डॉक्टर
डेल्यूशन
श्रीकांत जी,
इनको लगा छात्र हमारे साथ आएंगे
श्रीकांत जी, आपका
प्रधानमंत्री के घर के इधर जाने के बाद, लेकिन छात्र तो कोई आए नहीं।
वास्ते गुने हुइयां।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Headlines brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Security beefed up in Kashmir after the cowardly attack on Hindus. Kulgam police reviewing security camera surveillance following the terror attack. Farooq Abdullah's controversial statement on terror attack in Kulgam. Even after Lashkar proxy claims responsibility, Farooq says didn't know who's behind attacks. India's medal rush continues at Commonwealth Games 2026. 7 golds in boxing take India's medal tally to 39 on historic day 10. Ground welcome at New Delhi Airport for Indian medalists who return home from Commonwealth Games. Indian boxer Lovelina objects to a wrong map of India printed on the napkins of a restaurant in Glasgow. Prime Minister Modi launches Nasha Mukt Yuva for Vikshit Bharat Sankalp Abhiyan. 100-week anti-drug campaign begins. Viewers, we have a big breaking news coming in at the moment and a major focus story. In fact, Bangladeshi author Taslima Nasreen, she says in a press conference, one government has forced me to leave, another one did not allow me, and another one welcomed me. In fact, she was speaking about the subjugation of Hindus in Bangladesh and even spoke that she has been in exile for 31 years. And in fact, she thanked India for giving her shelter, and also was speaking about Hindus that have been targeted in Bangladesh, saying that Hindus do not live freely in the country and that there are several Hindu women that have been targeted in Bangladesh as well. And she has in fact mentioned and highlighted some of the atrocities the Hindus face in Bangladesh. And she also says that India believes in the freedom of speech and no politics was involved in this event as well. And she thanked West Bengal Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari for this. She has recently come back to Kolkata after living in exile for 31 years and has commended the efforts of the West Bengal Chief Minister and also to India for welcoming her back in the country. And she also highlighted some of the atrocities the Hindus face, the Hindus women face in Bangladesh. And in her statement, she also goes on further to say that, and I quote, "I hope that the relationship between the two countries, which is India and Bangladesh, will be good, and we always acknowledge what India did for us in 1971. But she also continues to highlight that some Pakistani jihadists are working against India. This is a major statement that she has put forward in her big first major statement after her coming back to Kolkata. And she continues to highlight how Hindus have been subjected to various atrocities in Bangladesh, and also says that India and Bangladesh, and hopes in fact that India and Bangladesh will continue on good terms, and that Bangladesh cannot forget what India did in the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. This is a major statement by Taslima Nasreen, who has been exiled for over 30 years, in fact 31 years, and she has been recently she has come back to Kolkata. Finally, I'm now joined by my senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor from the newsroom to give us more details and insights into this latest development. Abhishek, tell us, what does this statement mean for India? Also, she also highlighted how Hindus have been targeted in Bangladesh. Tell us more on this.
Well, you see, she was in Kolkata. She was in Kolkata after a gap of more than 25 years. And the reason why she couldn't be in Kolkata was because the left government exiled her from Kolkata also because they were, literally beholden to those jihadi elements in Bengal who did not want Taslima Nasreen to be in the territory of Bengal. And then subsequently Mamata Banerjee also, because she was beholden to the vote bank, or a particular vote bank as they say, she did not let Taslima Nasreen come back. Now that she has come back, and remember, she was in Kolkata on the invite of a progressive Muslim group, not because some Hindu groups had invited her back in Kolkata because there is a BJP government in power. Obviously, that helps insofar as the safety and security of this Bangladeshi author is concerned. She was exiled from Bangladesh, or she had to escape from Bangladesh because of a fatwa against her for a novel that she wrote, Lajja, which was in a way a commentary on the status of minorities, the Hindu community in Bangladesh. She has, while in Kolkata, made some comments, Amrita, on the situation in Bangladesh, the politics of Bangladesh, the coup that happened, which dislodged the government of Sheikh Hasina, and then subsequent developments, the manner in which the minorities, particularly the Hindus, have been targeted. She also spoke on Chinmay Krishna Das Prabhu, the ISKCON monk who's in jail in Bangladesh, and whatever has happened during the Yunus regime subsequently. But insofar as India is concerned, I think her presence in Kolkata itself is a political statement of sorts for the new government of Subhendu Adhikari or the BJP government in Bengal, that something which was done by way of not letting Taslima Nasreen come to Kolkata under pressure from a particular vote bank, under pressure from the jihadis, because obviously the jihadis said that they would target the physical safety, they would, try to have a go at Taslima Nasreen because of the fatwa that exists against her. So I think in that sense, this is obviously a political statement on the part of the BJP government also, but for Taslima Nasreen to be batting for uniform civil code while speaking in Kolkata, and then of course looking at throwing a searchlight on the events in Bangladesh, and to be able to do that while in Kolkata obviously is a political statement at the end of Taslima Nasreen. So of course also the BJP government in Bengal.
That's right. In fact, a political statement, and remains to be seen how Bangladesh will react if it does, because this raises some of the concerns that India has been raising with regards to the treatment of Hindus in Bangladesh as well. Thank you so much for joining us on this, Abhishek. And now, viewers, another major story that we're tracking at the moment. A landslide has been reported in Shivamoga district of Karnataka. Now, 3 members of the same family have died, including a 3-year-old child, in this major tragedy in Karnataka. A major landslide has now killed 3 in Shivamoga district, a major tragedy in fact, and this as some of the places continue to reel from the landslide, from the heavy rain, and the landslide continuing to wreak havoc across several parts of the country. And now in Shivamoga, another tragedy is coming in, as we can see rescue operations there being carried out. In this latest update, the 3 members of a family has been killed in this tragic landslide, a big tragedy. In fact, several rescue operations are being also carried out on this, and a landslide that happened in Shivamoga district, and you can see the earth being dug out to rescue any other those that may have been trapped inside it. And also, viewers, we move on to another focus story of the terror attack in Kulgam. On that, Farooq Abdullah's remarks on what he said on the Kulgam terror attack, the BJP leader Tarun Shah has said that killing of innocent migrant laborers in Kulgam is a heinous terrorist act and deserving of the strongest condemnation. At such a time, instead of opposing the terrorists and questioning their handlers, Farooq Abdullah's attempt to spread suspicion and confusion is highly irresponsible. Let's listen into the statement from the BJP.
कुलगाम में निर्दोष प्रवासी मजदूरों की हत्या एक जघन्य आतंकीय कृत्य है, जो कठोर निंदनीय है, अमानवीय घटना। ऐसे समय में आतंकियों के और उनके आकाओं पर सवाल उठाने के बजाय, उसका विरोध करने के बजाय संदेह और भ्रम फैलाने का फारूक अब्दुल्ला का प्रयास बेहद गैर जिम्मेदाराना, पाकिस्तान प्रायोजित आतंकी और पाकिस्तान में बैठे उनके आकाओं को बचाने का प्रोपोगंडा है। अब्दुल्ला परिवार को पाकिस्तान के पीआरओ की भूमिका निभाना बंद करना चाहिए। मत रहिए पीआरओ की भूमिका में। देश की जनता ये जानती है कि आतंकवाद के विरुद्ध ये नेता 2 शब्द भी स्पष्ट रूप से नहीं बोलते हैं। घटना निंदनीय है, अमानवीय है।
Now, viewers, let's listen to what Farooq Abdullah had originally said in regards to this, even after Lashkar proxy had claimed responsibility. Even then, Farooq Abdullah says that he didn't know who's behind the attacks. Listen in.
देखिए, पुलिस के अफसर को भी अभी उन्होंने शहीद किया। ये जो मजदूरों को भी इन्होंने गोली मारी। मैं तो यही कहूँगा कि भाई पहले बताओ ये मारने वाले कौन है। आप तो कहते हैं कि आतंकवाद खत्म हो गया, तो अगर आतंकवाद खत्म हो गया तो ये मारने वाला कौन है? इसको जरा साबित लाइए ना, सामने लाइए, हम भी देखें, दुनिया देखे। मैं तो यहाँ लोग मारे जाते हैं और कुछ नहीं कहा जाता है, टेररिस्ट ने मार दिया। अरे आया कहाँ से? बॉर्डर तो पूरा अंडर कंट्रोल है, कौन है मारने वाला?
सर कहा जाता था कि हालात बदलेंगे 2019 के बाद।
आप देख रहे हैं कितने बदल गए। आतंकवाद क्या खत्म हो गया? जो सारे दुनिया में डंडोरा मारते हैं, हम तो कहते हैं हमारा स्टेटहुड वापस करो। स्टेटहुड वापस दे दीजिए, क्यों नहीं दे रहे?
And viewers, shifting focus to another focus story of the day. Assam continues to battle the aftermath of severe floods. Though the situation has shown signs of improvement, the number of affected people has come down to 1.78 lakh, while the death toll remains at 82. However, 7 districts are still impacted, with the Dikho and Dhansiri rivers flowing above danger levels. Take a look at this report for more.
Assam's flood situation is showing marginal improvement, with the number of affected people dropping to 1.78 lakh. The death toll remains at 82, with no fresh casualties reported in the last 24 hours. 7 districts are still battling the flood impact. The Dikhav and Dhansiri rivers continue to flow above danger levels, keeping authorities on alert. Assam's flood crisis is fueled by heavy monsoon rains, the mighty Brahmaputra system, massive silt deposits, and relentless riverbank erosion. Nearly 40% of Assam lies in the Brahmaputra floodplains. During monsoon, swollen rivers spill over, inundating homes, farms, and infrastructure.
Viewers, some major breaking news coming in on the Kaveri River issue. Karnataka Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar has said that the Mekidatu project is a permanent solution. In fact, he had called an all-party meeting on that as well, and now the Supreme Court has already delivered its judgment, and he says that the central government has also given its response. And he says that taking into account all of this consideration, we should move forward without wasting any more time. This is not about Tamil Nadu getting more or Karnataka getting less. So we should use this opportunity to bring both Karnataka and Tamil Nadu to the table, hold discussions and resolve the issue amicably. This is what he said. Let's listen into what he said on the Kaveri River issue.
As far as Kaveri is concerned, I think you know that we got an order from the CWMA also. Finally, they stamped the order given by the request of the institutions. They demanded about 9 TMC of water. Ultimately, for 15 days, 4 TMC of water has been ordered. And in connected to that, we were supposed to leave 3,500 cusics every day for 15 days. We are finding very difficult. But all your prayers and all our prayers in the interest of farmers for both the states, some good rains have come. And when I am very happy to inform you, all of you, that today the inflow in Kabani is about 24,000 TMC of the cusics of water. KRS is with a record of 22,000 cusics is flowing inflow. Hemavati about 11,884 cusic has been flowing. Harangi about 10,430. Almost 67 to 68,000 of cusics is been inflow is being coming. And as far as drinking water is concerned, for all the Kaveri basin, including Bangalore, we need about 36 TMC of water. It is a must. And 4 TMC we have to keep for evaporation and small internal problems may arise. The central government and the regulatory authorities have a watch, including the Tamil Nadu. We can't hide out anything. So they have advised us to make use of the Mekidatu Supreme Court order which has come, which is the law of the land. It is the law of the land what has been given to us. Definitely it is our bound duty to see that we release 177 TMC of water, 0.25 TMC of water.
And moving on, as Surat is around the corner to face a third flood threat, the district administration has stepped up its preparedness measures. Following the incessant rains and flooding in the Kadodara village, Surat district, the Indian Army rescued 34 people and distributed relief material to more than 400 residents. The operation was carried out in coordination with the civil administration and teams from the Indian Army's Southern Command. Here's a report. Take a look.
Torrential monsoon rains have triggered severe waterlogging and flood-like conditions across parts of Gujarat. Severe waterlogging was witnessed in Kadodara village in Surat district following incessant rains and flooding. Soon after the waterlogging, the Indian Army deployed flood relief columns to assist affected residents. According to officials, the Indian Army successfully rescued 34 civilians and also distributed relief material to more than 400 residents. Equipped with boats and life-saving equipment, the team continue to provide assistance and remain prepared for further contingencies. As the weather continues to remain severe, the authorities in Narmada district have also launched Operation Safe Delivery to ensure that pregnant women receives timely medical care.
With that, we come to the end of this bulletin. Thank you for watching. And on the other side, we have more stories on how NC President Farooq Abdullah's controversial statement on the terror attack in Kulgam said. And even after Lashkar proxy claims responsibility, Farooq says he didn't know who's behind the attacks. Stay tuned, coming up after a short break.
लो
सब बढ़िया लो।
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
QSMT achieved. The world's foremost university rankings organizations have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे।
हनी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी बार एकदम सॉलिड।
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा से। एमटीएच का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सब का राजा हार्डकोर मसाला।
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but you know we got to smack them a little bit.
The United States has launched airstrikes on Iran hours after President Donald Trump warned Tehran of a strong military response. The strikes mark the first major American attack since Trump paused the bombing campaign last week. Trump had earlier vowed to hit Iran very hard after an Iranian missile attack on an American base in Jordan. Within hours, US forces launched retaliatory strikes, escalating tensions across the Middle East.
We can hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but, you know, we got to smack them a little bit. Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But no, they sent 8,000-mile-an-hour missiles at us, and fortunately we had our people operating the greatest equipment in the world, namely the Patriot system. Think of it, 5 missiles going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us, and all 5 were shot down. How about that, right? Pretty good. Only we, nobody else could do that but us, yeah.
US forces began launching strikes against Iran at 8 p.m. ET today. The strikes are a powerful response to yesterday's attempted Iranian attacks on US forces based in the Middle East. The escalation comes after Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed responsibility for a missile attack on a US airbase and command center in Jordan. The US military says all the missiles were intercepted. Even as airstrikes continue, CENTCOM says it is strictly enforcing the American blockade against Iran. As of July 29,
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट, ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े।
चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो।
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी बार एकदम सॉलिड।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ, स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say Modi ji clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
आपको समझ ना आए तो आप घर जाके गूगल पे आप सर्च कर लेना ये क्या नारा है। वो नारा देते थे वास्ते गुने हुइयां, और वो नारा देते थे इतने प्यार से, इतनी खूबसूरत तरीके से इस्तीफा मांगते थे। कहते थे जब आपसे इस्तीफा भी मांगते थे तो कहते थे कुचू पुचू इस्तीफा दे दो, आज हमारा जन्मदिन है।
विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया, तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं।
So these are the 3 categories: student, idiot, and andhbhakt who follows the idiot. Now,
कि खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ। खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बना। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 1 अधिनियम सूत्र और विधेयक का पूरा नाम विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ।
जिन लोगों ने विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ किया, वे जेलों में सड़ रहे हैं। हमने मास्टर कोर्ट बना।
अध्यक्ष जी, जहां पर कांग्रेस शासित यूपीए ने पॉलिसी वैक्यूम करा, वहीं पर अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say मोदी जी clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
जेनजी की भाषा में मैं, अरे सुनो यार, सुनने की आदत रखो। जेनजी की भाषा में विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया, तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन।
Hi there, welcome back to your favorite deep dive show on stories contemporary and consequential for India. Pakistan was given a tongue lashing by India over the song and dance it made over the Indus Waters Treaty with the summit in Islamabad. All saber rattling would be met with resolute work to alter the facts on the ground insofar as sharing Indus River system's water is concerned. The Indus Waters Treaty 1960 is dead for all practical purposes. And that's our focus in segment 1. Next, we dive into the issue of tech sovereignty in the light of Facebook blocking a post by Prime Minister Modi this week. Is the answer to American big tech imperialism is stricter laws and China-like shadow banning? And finally, a focus on the election-bound border state of Punjab and some dangerous portents that its appeasement politics is suggesting. To not go that path, again, would be the counsel. Let's get going. This is election year and Punjab is playing with fire yet again. The same appeasement politics of the 70s and 80s that turned the state into a terror hotbed is rearing its head. This week saw protests in support of jailed Khalistani Amritpal Singh. This week also saw the Akal Takht, the supreme temporal seat of Sikhism, being wooed by all political fronts, competing to outdo each other. Congress, true to its DNA of appeasement, stole the march, seeking permission of the Takht for its MLAs to attend the monsoon session of the Punjab Assembly that begins on August 3. The trigger for this outlandish tango with the Akal Takht was the latter's reprimand of Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann, who was excommunicated from the faith and declared Gurdokhi, or traitor of the Gurus of Sikhism, for a viral video that showed Mann in unflattering light. The Chief Minister denied it was him in the clip, but Takht believed otherwise and punished Mann nevertheless. And this was not the only standoff between the two sides. In April, the Mann government passed an anti-sacrilege law, hoping it would earn some brownie points with the larger Sikhi and specifically the clergy. but attracted brickbats instead for the oversight of not consulting the Takht and the Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee, or the SGPC, the two representative bodies when it comes to all things spiritual and temporal insofar as Sikhism is concerned. An angry Takht summoned all Sikh MLAs of Punjab, including those from the opposition parties, on June 29 and gave them an earful for passing the law without consulting them. In that meeting, the Takht suggested 10 specific amendments to 5 clauses of the law. The Akal Takht wants no interference of any kind in the running of Gurdwaras or the Guru Granth Sahib Beers, the sacred text that is considered the living Guru by the Sikhs. The law had provided for a digital record keeping with the local administration of all Beers or Swarups, and the Takht wants that oversight removed. On Wednesday, the AAP government delivered on the promised amendments through a 25-page report, which would be incorporated subject to Akal Takht approval. The Takht criticized Maan government a day before for not meeting the deadline on assurances to make the changes in the anti-sacrilege law. Jathedar Gyani Kuldeep Singh Gargach called it arrogance of the government to not meet the deadline.
ਸੌਦਾ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ 1 ਮਹੀਨਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਆਪਾਂ ਇੰਨੇ ਵੇਸਲੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਆ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਚਰਚਾ ਕਰਨ? ਚਰਚਾ ਤੇ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਜਾ ਚੁੱਕਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਆਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਹਟਾਓ, ਪਰ ਅਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਅੱਜ ਮਹੀਨਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ। ਤੋ ਪੰਥ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝੇ। ਸਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਵੇਖੋ, ਸਾਡੀ ਵਫਾਦਾਰੀ ਕਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆ? ਸਿੱਖ ਦੀ ਵਫਾਦਾਰੀ ਕਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ? ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨਾਲ। ਸਰਕਾਰ ਤੇ ਹਰ 25 ਸਾਲ ਹੀ ਬਦਲ ਜੂਗੀ, ਪਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਬਦਲਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ। ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦਾ ਦੁਸ਼ਮਣ ਮੁਰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਮੁਰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਮੁਰਦਾਬਾਦ। ਸ਼ਰਾਬੀ ਮੁੱਖ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਮੁਰਦਾਬਾਦ। ਭਾਈ ਅਮਰਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ।
The anti-sacrilege law itself pertains to the 2015-2022 period, during which both the Shiromani Akali Dal and the Congress governments were in power in Punjab. The state reported many instances of sacrilege of the sacred text of the Guru Granth Sahib, which led to law and order situation. The most famous incident, or rather infamous, was in Bargari village of Faridkot district in October of 2015, when Sukhbir Singh Badal was the chief minister. As reports of sacrilege spread, protests broke out and 2 protesters lost their life in the police firing. The incident remains a major political and religious issue in Punjab and played out to the detriment of incumbents in 2017 and 2022 assembly elections, with the Akali and Congress governments getting booted out for not doing enough, thus paving the way for the present AAP government in the state for the first time. Badal was excommunicated from the faith for his failure to book the culprits and sitting as chief minister during the incident. He even faced an assassination bid on him while standing outside the Takht Sahib at the Golden Temple for a day's punishment. For decades, the BJP played the outsider national party in support role of the Akalis. But with the alliance breaking off in 2020 over the farm laws protests, the party has been grappling with finding its own feet in the quicksand of religious and identity politics of Punjab. Last month, the BJP leader from Maharashtra, Girish Mahajan, who is also a cabinet minister in the Devendra Fadnavis government, found himself in a row when at an event to commemorate the Operation Blue Star at the Damdami Taksal at Chowk Mehta of Amritsar district, he called those killed as martyrs or shaheed. That obviously included Bhindranwale, who was at the epicenter of Punjab's communal cauldron in the 1980s and perished at the same Akal Takht during Operation Blue Star in 1984. The dais from which Mahajan spoke also had a poster with Bhindranwale's picture as its backdrop to the embarrassment of the party. A parallel event, though not directly political, risked fanning trouble across Punjab this month. The release and subsequent ban of Diljit Dosanjh's movie Satluj, profiling a 1990s activist Jaswant Singh Khalra, brought the wounds of the past center stage. Despite the ban, the movie got private screenings across the state, inflaming passions. As if on cue, the Akal Takht issued a diktat that SGPC should comprehensively document the details of all Sikh victims from 1982 to 1995, including those who were killed, declared unclaimed and cremated without their bodies being handed over to their families. The clergy also organized a memorial at Harike Pattan, the canal spot where many of those unclaimed bodies were apparently thrown during the 1990s. The two polarizing decades of the 80s and 90s have left a legacy of fracture that still haunts Punjab and rears its head off and on. The forces that fan those sentiments are still present, however dormant. This brings me back to where I began, the protests for the release of Amritpal Singh by his group Waris Punjab. Singh is in an Assam jail and there is conclusive evidence of his involvement in drugs, extortion and Khalistani terror-related activities. The immediate trigger for the protests this week was FBI, or the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the United States, declaring him a proclaimed offender wanted by them in drugs-related crimes. It would be up to the civil society of Punjab and the clergy led by the Akal Takht and the SGPC to not do anything that jeopardizes the fragile peace. They should brook no indulgence with these forces. If history repeats itself, first time as tragedy and second time as farce, it's a fervent hope that it's a farce playing out in Punjab this time and not a tragedy. Moving on. On July 27, the news cycle woke up to Facebook restricting a post by Prime Minister Modi which he had addressed to the larger student community in the backdrop of the Jantar Mantar protests. The government frowned and Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, issued an apology, blaming the block to a technical glitch. Also this week, the government had to order blocking of BitChat, a social media app that has a feature to allow communication through Bluetooth in internet block zones. The platform was being used by Jantar Mantar protesters and is the same app used to deadly effect in Nepal's Gen Z violence last year. Meta's technical error explanation is a blatant lie. The government is not believing it either, and that's why they have been called in person to explain. Apology notwithstanding.
They have written to us, Meta has written to government expressing regret over the incident and that it had happened. They've also given us the reasons, their understanding of the reason why it happened, and they've also indicated that as of 28th of July, they have established new protocols relating to accounts of prominent persons to avoid such a situation from recurring.
It was algorithmic warfare, plain and simple. The only discount that can be given to Meta is that maybe it was not targeted specifically at the Prime Minister. The Facebook algorithm just shadow bans any communication that countered the cockroach narrative. Prime Minister's message fell in that category and got auto-blocked. If that be the case, they better explain, and the government better go to the bottom of it. This was, of course, not the first time that Meta has found itself in contravention of Indian sovereign laws. Exactly this month, Republic investigation had found Meta pushing child pornography content on Instagram, for which the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has launched a separate probe and sought Meta's response. Imagine, the same algorithm that works super efficiently for blocking Prime Minister's post fails to completely block child pornography, and Meta gives a laconic "no systems are perfect" reply. If an American corporation can restrict a communication of a popular leader like Prime Minister Modi of the world's largest democracy, suspend the Indian Army's official X handle, or be in breach of criminal laws with impunity. It reflects on the power the Silicon Valley holds and can use to hold societies hostage. And if Meta could do it despite India being their biggest market by user base outside of the United States, then we know the scale of the problem. Even profit is not a deterrent. The episode has center staged the imperatives of tech sovereignty, an idea on vogue in geopolitics from New Delhi to Europe. Back in the 1960s, we lived from ship to mouth when it came to food, and Green Revolution made us food sovereign. So in this case, our military-industrial complex has to evolve to make us tech sovereign. It is loosely understood as the need to build critical technologies on our own, to avoid dependence on others. That might not be fully practical. What is important is to be able to make our choices free from considerations of foreign interests, particularly during critical moments like we went through during Operation Sindoor last year. In the networked era, tech dependence is a strategic vulnerability. India's Air Force Chief underscored it a couple of days back.
We have just heard about the cyber security part. Yes, it is a very important requirement to have our sovereign stacks, secure networks and storage, and also data privacy. So that has to be looked along with that. So only way that can happen is if we have the intellectual property rights for whatever we do. Then we should be able to make changes whenever we want. We should be able to encode anything, decode anything. And of course, indigenous AI algorithms will be required to be developed along with that.
What Air Chief Marshal AP Singh said was that as Op Sindoor showed, missiles and fighter jets are increasingly networked. They are software and code as much as explosives and vectors. We need complete sovereignty of the software, the AI stack, the source code, the data that empowers military decision-making to be able to win wars. And national security includes economic security. Just last month, Europe made a big move in the direction of tech sovereignty, with the European Parliament pivoting away from Google and making French Quant as the default search engine on all its computers. This was only one of the many steps that European Union is executing to make it independent of American and Chinese tech, from cloud computing to AI to associated supply chains. Europe has seen it up close in the case of the Ukraine war, when Elon Musk-owned Starlink had switched off its satellites, making Ukrainian military commanders go blind to the war zone momentarily over unpaid bills. The second Trump administration and its talking down approach towards Europe has lent a sense of urgency to Europeans to speed up the pivot away from American big tech. As in the case of Europe, so in the case of India, the imperatives are similar. From evolving as the most consequential geopolitical partnership of the century till first Trump administration, the India-United States equation has suddenly plunged to being a tenuously managed relationship. And going by the repeated comments from Washington, D.C., it is unlikely that it would swing back anytime soon. Let's listen to some of them.
But again, India should understand that we're not going to make the same mistakes with India that we made with China 20 years ago in terms of saying, oh, you know, we're gonna let you, be able to develop all these markets, and then the next thing we know, you're beating us in a lot of commercial things. We're going to make sure that whatever we do, it's fair to our people.
It's carefully crafted to make sure we are not hitting our allies and that we are hitting China and India. Let's be really blunt. China and India are the main culprits here. They purchase the vast majority of oil and gas. They are fueling Russia's war machine, and they are doing us no favors anywhere else in the world.
It seems so cinched are Americans with their China experience that they are not willing to let India grow despite being an ideological ally as a democracy. Europe and India face similar quandary in that sense. Being democracies and allied broadly, both find an anxious America not a reliable partner anymore. Even Gulf countries realize, much to their chagrin, that having American bases is no guarantee of peace. The Iranian drone strikes made both UAE and Saudi Arabia scurry for a Ukrainian cover, as America's big war machine proved less than effective against new-age loitering munition attacks. With the advent of AI, data sovereignty debate has become a mere subset of larger tech sovereignty, which includes not just data, but data centers, compute, semiconductors, and the entire AI stack. The Modi government is going through convulsions and burning some midnight oil to make sure that India hops onto the sailing ship. But industrial muscle is built over generations. Ecosystems like Bengaluru and Hyderabad take decades. It has to be a national resolve. And while we are on tech sovereignty, there's a more elemental yet significant sovereignty on which India made some moves this week, that of water sovereignty. That's our next segment. Moving on.
I would reiterate what we have said earlier as well. India's position on the Indus Waters Treaty is consistent. IWT stands in abeyance in response to Pakistan's continued sponsorship of cross-border terrorism. Pakistan must credibly and irrevocably abjure its support for cross-border terrorism.
This was India's short, on-the-record response to some hue and cry made by Pakistan past fortnight over the Indus Waters Treaty, which we have kept in abeyance post the Pahalgam terror attack of 2024. But reading the tea leaves, I can tell you that the IWT in its 1960 form is all but over. If at all it gets revived, for which India and Pakistan would need to get talking first, it would be in a substantially different form and architecture. The preamble to the IWT of 1960 says that it was based on a spirit of goodwill, friendship, and peaceful coexistence. Like any enduring international arrangement, it depended not merely on legal obligations, but on mutual trust, reciprocity, and good faith. For over 6 decades, India honored both the letter and the spirit of the treaty, maintaining uninterrupted implementation even during the 4 wars that we fought with Pakistan. That changed under the Modi government. The first thought that the spirit behind IWT lay shattered germinated post the Uri terror strike. And by the time of Pahalgam, the thinking had concretized that this had to go. Pakistan, with its permanent hostility, has fundamentally destroyed the atmosphere of trust necessary for any further accommodation. There are other aspects. The kind of obstructionism that we have seen against virtually every Indian project on the western rivers, irrespective of whether it is well within IWT framework, proves that it goes beyond terrorism. Salal, Tulbul, Baglihar, Kishanganga, Ratle, and Pakaldul. It's a long list of projects, most of them for the benefit of Kashmiris, that have seen Pakistani delaying tactics. Then there's the technological aspect. The IWT, as it was framed in 1960, is based on the technologies and hydrological data that was available in the 1950s. Both have changed fundamentally in the 6 decades since then. India's population has increased 4 times, resulting in substantially higher demand for drinking water, irrigation, industry, and urban development needs. States dependent upon the Indus Basin, including Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, even Delhi, face increasing water stress and growing developmental requirements that could not have been envisaged when the treaty was negotiated. Climate change has further altered basin dynamics. India's commitments towards clean energy transition and climate goals also require efficient development of hydropower infrastructure using state-of-the-art engineering practices rather than technologies frozen in the engineering standards of the 1950s. The Salal hydroelectric project represents the clearest example. India accommodated Pakistan's objections by plugging low-level sediment outlets and reducing pondage purely as a gesture of goodwill and over and above treaty provisions. But this resulted in severe long-term consequences. The reservoir rapidly lost much of its storage capacity due to siltation, from 284 million cubic meter to about 9 MCM. Turbine wear and tear increased substantially, and peak power capability was compromised. The Indus Waters Treaty remains one of the most generous water sharing arrangements ever accepted by an upper riparian state like India. Under the treaty, Pakistan received rights over nearly 80% of the waters of the Indus Basin. That's approximately 135 million acre feet annually, while India retained only about 20% or 33 million acre feet, despite being the upper riparian state. Also, while India remains subject to detailed engineering restrictions, Pakistan faces no comparable scrutiny regarding the efficiency with which it utilizes the overwhelming share of basin waters allocated to it. And despite getting that generous share, Pakistan wastes most of it, with approximately 35 million acre feet of water flowing annually into the Arabian Sea without productive utilization. Barely 58 million acre feet, or just about 1/3 of its allocation, reaches farms due to mismanaged canal network. That too in Punjab, with Sindh and Balochistan going parched most of the time. It is the mismanagement of its own irrigation infrastructure that's a bottleneck to agricultural productivity of Pakistan, and not upstream water flow as it projects. With the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance, all provisions of the treaty, including institutional mechanisms for meetings of the Permanent Indus Commission, inspections, tours, and routine exchange of hydrological and project-related data, all remains inoperative. My sources tell me that the priority now is accelerated development of hydropower projects on the Chenab Basin, which are critical for India's clean energy transition, grid stability, and regional development. Major projects under implementation include the 1856 megawatt Sawalkot hydroelectric project, the 1000 megawatt Pakal Dul project, the 850 megawatt Ratle project, the 624 megawatt Kiru project, and the 540 megawatt Kwar project. These projects, expected to be commissioned progressively over the next few years, will substantially enhance India's hydropower capacity while enabling the fuller utilization of its legitimate rights under the Indus Basin. Lest you think that these are greenfield long gestation projects, India is also working to restore the efficiency of its existing hydropower projects through modern reservoir and sediment management practices, which were stuck due to IWT obligations and Pakistani obstructionism. In addition, steps are being taken for utilization of rightful share of waters to water-stressed areas like Delhi and Rajasthan, for which a river and canal interlinking project is being given final shape. Water sovereignty at play finally. Pakistan has it coming. Thanks for watching.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ, स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
यानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH।
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो।
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized. But, you know, we got to smack them a little bit.
The United States has launched airstrikes on Iran hours after President Donald Trump warned Tehran of a strong military response. The strikes mark the first major American attack since Trump paused the bombing campaign last week. Trump had earlier vowed to hit Iran very hard after an Iranian missile attack on an American base in Jordan. Within hours, US forces launched retaliatory strikes, escalating tensions across the Middle East.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized. But, you know, we got to smack them a little bit. Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But no, they sent 8,000 mile-an-hour missiles at us. And fortunately, we had our people operating the greatest equipment in the world, namely the Patriot system. Think of it, 5 missiles going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us, and all 5 were shot down. How about that, right? Pretty good. Nobody else could do that but us, yeah.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Welcome back, friends. And Taslima Nasreen, the Bangladeshi writer-author who has been in exile for 3 decades plus, landed up in Kolkata after a gap of 19 years. That's because the liberal secular ecosystem would not let her be there in her language homeland. But now under BJP, she is back. She has made some comments, making headlines. That's going to be our focus. Let's begin with the headlines.
Headlines brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Security beefed up in Kashmir after the cowardly attack on Hindus. Kulgam police reviewing security camera surveillance following the terror attack. National Conference President Farooq Abdullah's controversial statement on terror attack in Kulgam, even after Lashkar proxy claims responsibility. Farooq says did not know or does not know who's behind attacks. India's medal rush continues at Commonwealth Games 2026. 7 golds in boxing take India's medal tally to 39 on a historic day 10. Grand welcome at New Delhi Airport for India medalists who return home from the Commonwealth Games. Indian boxer Lovely now objects to a wrong map of India printed on the napkins of a restaurant in Glasgow. And Prime Minister Modi launches the Nasha Mukti Yuva for Viksit Bharat Sankalp Abhiyan. 100-week anti-drug campaign begins. All right, friends, welcome back again. And Taslima Nasreen, as I mentioned in the opening, is in Kolkata. And he has made a comment saying one government forced her to leave, one did not allow her to come back, and another one now, the BJP government that is, which is in power, has welcomed her back. So these are the three differences. And then she goes on to say, and I quote, "But I am happy that I could come. I want to believe that this current government of West Bengal believes in freedom of speech." So Taslima Nasreen, they are essentially turning this into a freedom of speech debate, and that's crucial. Kishalai, let's first listen to what Taslima Nasreen has said, then Kishalai would join us live from Kolkata newsroom. Taslima Nasreen first.
আমাকে এক সরকার আমাকে বের করে দিয়েছিলেন, দ্বিতীয় সরকার আমাকে আসতে দেননি, তৃতীয় সরকার আমাকে আসতে দিয়েছেন। তো তিনটে পার্থক্যতা আছে। এখন সেই পার্থক্যটা না দেখে এই যে আমি আসতে পারলাম সেটাকেই আমার মনে হয় সেলিব্রেট করা উচিত, এবং আমি খুবই আনন্দিত যে আমি আসতে পেরেছি। এবং শুধু আমি বিশ্বাস করতে চাই যে এই সরকার মত প্রকাশের অধিকারে বিশ্বাস করেন, এই সরকার বাক স্বাধীনতায় বিশ্বাস করেন।
All right, Kishalai joins us live for more on this. Before I go to guests, Kishalai, my question is, who has invited Taslima Nasreen to be in Kolkata? Was it a Bengal government event? Is it the Subhendu Adhikari government which has invited Taslima Nasreen? And how come, what has changed rather, that she could make those comments, address press, visit Kolkata so easily?
Well, exactly. Now, I'll give you the details of this event. This event was organized by an intellectual group of Kolkata, and mainly comprising of people like Osman Malik, who is an advocate, and other advocates like Shantanu Sinha and others. Now, this particular event happened in a location where Taslima Nasreen had events 20 years back. Now, Taslima Nasreen was saying today that after 20 years, when I come back to Kolkata, it feels like coming back to my own home, and I was really looking forward to this. But the left front government, she said today that the left front government was the reason I had to go away from this place, and after that the Trinamool Congress government did not allow me to come back to my own roots. But the BJP government, Subhendu Adhikari, the chief minister, has finally given the permission for me to come back and arrange for the proper security arrangements for this event. We know that she had to flee from Kolkata because she had threats, life-threatening situation in Kolkata, where certain elements right from the radical Islamist groups tried to attack her, and she had to flee. Now she's back to Kolkata, and she was very emotional, and she thanked Subhendu Adhikari and the government for allowing her to speak in yesterday's event.
Right. Thank you so much, Kishalai, for joining us with those details. Essentially a progressives group, and as Kishalai mentioned, includes some Muslim members in the group. We have Amber Zaidi joining us, a women's rights activist. We also have Tausif Khan joining us, political analyst, and can we have him on air as well? And Amber, if I could begin with you. Okay, we are still to get Tausif. Amber, if I could begin with you till the time we get Tausif live. She has turned it into a freedom of speech issue that for 19 years she was not allowed to be in Kolkata. Now, was it because a certain vote bank dictated the politics of both the left and Mamata Banerjee? Because they were in power, it's only because of this change of government, as Taslima herself said. And the Chief Minister of Bengal has also said, Subhendu Adhikari, that now she is free to move. And in that case, what does it speak about the Bengal politics?
Of course, what
Amber, you have to unmute yourself. There seems to be some network issue. Okay, I think we lost the line there, so maybe we can go back to Kishalai after listening to Taslima once more, and I would request the guest team to get Tausif also. Okay, Tausif is patched. Okay, can I go to Tausif then? Okay, Tausif is patched now. Tausif, what does it speak of Bengal politics that for 19 years Taslima Nasreen couldn't come to Kolkata, and now she can? Obviously, it's very clear that it is because of the BJP government that she could feel safe enough to be there, and organizers could feel safe enough to be inviting her, and this seems like a progressive group which includes some Muslims, Tausif.
Well, Taslima Nasreen is not the citizen of India. She is a Bangladeshi, and rather someone who was expelled from her country for being blasphemous. She has no right to hurt the sentiment of the people who follow her religion in the subcontinent, and still she did that.
Does she have a right to life?
Because of the
does she have a right to life and liberty?
Yes, of course she has right of she has a right to life and liberty to any country where she is where she feels that she is welcomed. I mean, Israel is one big example where she can go. In any case, our government has sent arms and ammunition to Israel to kill children in Gaza.
How are
Therefore,
those?
I think she
how are
can
those?
go there.
How are those
BJP,
two things connected, Tausif? We are discussing Taslima Nasreen. We are discussing Bengal
Yes.
politics.
No, it's
we
the
are
pattern
discussing
I'm
the fact
discussing.
that
Look,
Mamata
BJP
Banerjee government for 3 terms and the left government before that couldn't muster the courage to provide safety to Nasreen or to anyone who would have hosted her.
No, there's no question of mustering.
In fact, she was double exiled. I mean, her life is under danger. And the left says, no, we can't protect you. Mamata says, no, we can't protect you. Please go wherever you think your life is safe.
No, the previous government of left regime and the Mamata regime, they understood the sentiment of the people. They respected the sentiment of the
Is it not the sentiment of the people who have invited her back now? Or was it a shadow banning of a certain sentiment and a certain sentiment holding rest of the state hostage?
Sentiment of the citizens of India.
Is jihadism the sentiment of Bengal? Because the threat to life, the threat to life comes from the jihadis, not from regular Muslims like you. You are not going to do any physical harm to Taslima. The jihadis would.
Of course not. Of course not. She has a life. She has a right to life and liberty and safety. And if people,
but even that was not provided, Tausif. But even that was the government just said, no, we can't help you.
Look, she was driven out of Kolkata after the huge protest in Kolkata. We all know that. We all know what happened 19 years ago. And because the government of the time was concerned about the law and order situation in Bengal and in Kolkata, government of the time considered it wise to drive them out of Kolkata for her own safety and to keep the peace in Calcutta and to respect the sentiment of the huge population here.
But what happened to the law and order situation now? Is that changed? Like, I mean, did a law and order situation become an excuse for 19 years and now things have changed?
No, you see, the BJP government is the one which does not care about the sentiments of its citizens.
No, it does not
BJP
care about the sentiments of the jihadis, perhaps, and rightly so. I mean, but people's sentiment, because as I mentioned, as Kishalai mentioned, Tausif, some of the organizers are progressive Muslims themselves.
See, organizers have all the right to organize any event.
But they did not have the sense of security because they were under threat from the jihadi elements. Earlier, before this government.
Organizers have right to continue with their money, right to continue with their livelihood by organizing events. If that helps them, they can do that. They have a right to do so.
Okay.
But I am saying
this right they couldn't exercise earlier, Tausif. I am coming back to you for a rebuttal, but just because we have got Amber Zaidi back, her link was broken earlier. Amber, if your link is good now, the question is, Tausif is saying that Taslima Nasreen's presence in Kolkata was a law and order, created a law and order situation and was a threat. But did that threat continue for 19 years, that with the change of government only this has happened?
And what your government was doing then, if Taslima Nasreen was a threat, then what you were doing? The government is supposed to ensure the safety of every citizen or the people who are exiled in the country. Taslima Nasreen herself chose the Kolkata, because I personally know her and how she feels connected to the Bengal culture and everything. And she also, proudly exhibits that culture and language and everything. But this debate is not about, whether you agree with every opinion of her and what it is not about the like what she says or what she writes through her books, but it is about the freedom of expression, the right. And Taslima Nasreen has lived in exile for decades, and after facing threats for overwriting, and through her entire career she has been written extensively on women rights, secularism and freedom of religion, and also against the religious extremism. And what she faced again in West Bengal, what she was facing in the Bangladesh back home. So nothing changed for her, but that's why she had to flee from Kolkata, and she was in other part of the country. And now after decades, she is again back to the Kolkata, where she feel again connected to the land and language, where what she loved about.
Okay.
Now the question is again, of course, it is what has changed over the period of time, that the government, who is capable to handle the entire law and order situation, if she is still a threat, then the government is able to control the entire situation and able to ensure the safety, which you failed so, and you gave a free hand to those miscreants who was your vote bank.
All right. Tausif, one last quick comment from you. Ultimately, it was about vote bank. And my question is, now that things have changed, would you say that it's good that we are not a mirror copy of what is happening in Bangladesh, and that this Bengal can provide a better picture? And for that, if Taslima comes to Kolkata and is able to, appear or make an appearance with no threat to her life, it's good for the people of Bengal and good for the projection that Bengal makes?
I think Taslima has a right to continue to write books. But at the same time, she does not have a right to hurt the sentiment of the people by abusing the Prophet Muhammad. And this is the reason why she was expelled from the country she belongs to, as well as from India. Now, yes, government has changed. The BJP government felt that MF Hussain painting hurt the sentiment of Hindus, and therefore MF Hussain had to leave India. But the same BJP government does not believe that Taslima Nasreen has to be driven out of Kolkata just because she hurts the sentiments of Muslims. So BJP is catering to the vote bank. BJP is now catering their own vote bank, using their own vote banks in Bengal and elsewhere in the country by inviting her and giving her a red carpet.
MF Hussain,
she can go anywhere.
There is a lot of nuance and difference, Tausif. MF Hussain left India even before the BJP came to power in New Delhi, right? And nobody threatened the life and liberty of MF Hussain. He was only legally challenged. That's apples and oranges.
Absolutely.
But I think you admit that. I think good takeaway is you admit that Taslima Nasreen has her right to life and liberty, and that should be protected. I think the Bengal government has obviously set an example. Good for the people of Bengal. Thank you so much, Tausif and Ambar Zaidi, for joining us. MF Hussain is a later debate. We'll come back to you, Tausif, for more on that, but moving on for now. And to the second story, which is Punjab Congress infighting, which has escalated. Charanjit Singh Channi has met ex-Congress MLAs, and he has raised questions about what's happening in Punjab Congress. Remember, the state is heading into elections, and Channi's dig at Rahul and State Congress President Raja Wading is something that's come out. Do we have a soundbite? In fact, we have more information. Congress leader Channi, he has visited the residence of suspended former MLA Madan Lal Jalalpur, and then there, speaking to reporters, he has questioned the party leadership decision to suspend senior leaders instead of addressing their concerns. We know that party in charge of Punjab, former Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, Bhupesh Baghel, has mediated between Channi and Waring, but seems to no impact. If we have soundbite, can we play that? No, I don't think we have. All right, we don't have. Let's move on. Okay, next one. On the Kaveri river issue, in Karnataka, Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar has said that the Mekedatu project is the permanent solution. The Supreme Court has already delivered its judgment according to the Chief Minister, and the central government has also given its response. And taking all that into consideration, we should move forward without wasting any more time. This is not about Tamil Nadu getting more or Karnataka getting less. We should use this opportunity to bring both Karnataka and Tamil Nadu to the table, hold discussions and resolve the issue amicably. We expect everyone's cooperation in this effort. Is the soundbite of D.K. Shivkumar coming in on a very crucial issue, and he's in fact wanting to have a conversation with Vijay, but not in Bengaluru. He has advised Vijay, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, to not come to his state. Let's listen to what the Karnataka Chief Minister has said.
As far as Kaveri is concerned, I think you know that we got an order from the CWMA also. Finally, they stamped the order given by the request of the institutions. They demanded about 9 TMC of water. Ultimately, for 15 days, 4 TMC of water has been ordered. And in connected to that, we were supposed to leave 3,500 cusics every day for 15 days. We are finding very difficult, but all your prayers and all our prayers in the interest of farmers for both the states, some good rains have come. And when I am very happy to inform you, all of you, that today the inflow in Kabani is about 24,000 TMC of the cusics of water. KRS is with a record of 22,000 cusics is flowing, inflow. Hemavati about 11,884 cusic has been flowing. Harangi about 10,430. Almost 67 to 68,000 of cusics is been, inflow is being coming. And as far as drinking water is concerned, for all the Kaveri basin, including Bangalore, we need about 36 TMC of water. It is a must. And 4 TMC we have to keep for evaporation and small internal problems may arise. The central government and the regulatory authorities have a watch, including the Tamil Nadu. We can't hide out anything. So they have advised us to make use of the Mekedatu Supreme Court order which has come, which is the law of the land. It is the law of the land what has been given to us. Definitely it is our bound duty to see that we release 177 TMC of water, 0.25 TMC of water.
All right, moving on, a row raised by Farooq Abdullah, where he spoke on the Kulgam terror attack which happened yesterday, in which 2 Hindu laborers were targeted. Now a reaction coming in. BJP leader Tarun Chugh has said that the killing of innocent migrant laborers in Kulgam is a heinous terrorist act deserving of the strongest condemnation. At such a time, instead of opposing the terrorists and questioning their handlers, Farooq Abdullah's attempt to spread suspicion and confusion is highly irresponsible. Let's listen to him.
कुलगाम में निर्दोष प्रवासी मजदूरों की हत्या एक जघन्य आतंकीय कृत्य है जो कठोर निंदनीय है, अमानवीय घटना है। ऐसे समय में आतंकियों के और उनके आकाओं पर सवाल उठाने के बजाय, उसका विरोध करने के बजाय संदेह और भ्रम फैलाने का फारूक अब्दुल्ला का प्रयास बेहद गैर जिम्मेदाराना, पाकिस्तान प्रायोजित आतंकी और पाकिस्तान में बैठे उनके आकाओं को बचाने का प्रोपोगंडा है। अब्दुल्ला परिवार को पाकिस्तान के पीआरओ की भूमिका निभाना बंद करना चाहिए। मत रहिए पीआरओ की भूमिका में। देश की जनता ये जानती है कि आतंकवाद के विरुद्ध ये नेता दो शब्द भी स्पष्ट रूप से नहीं बोलते हैं। घटना निंदनीय है, अमानवीय है।
All right, some international news. A major migration crisis has unfolded at the Morocco-Spain border as thousands of migrants attempted to reach the Spanish enclave of Ceuta in search of better opportunities. Spanish authorities responded by deploying troops to restore order and tighten security, while border crossings were restricted to prevent further arrivals. Local authorities described the incident as one of the most serious border challenges in Ceuta's history. And for many migrants, the journey reflects the hope of escaping economic hardship. This is as much about larger migrant crisis facing Europe. Here is how our digital team has packaged all the information for you. Take a look.
Spain has been all over international headlines. Reports of thousands of migrants entering the country in a matter of days, visuals of crowds breaking through barriers, chaos at a border, deaths being reported. For most people watching this from outside Europe, the natural picture that comes to mind is a boat crossing. People sailing across open sea to reach Spain. That picture is where the confusion begins. Because the Spain that is actually seeing this crisis right now is not the Spain most people picture on a map at all. On 30th July, a crowd Spanish authorities estimated at around 6,000 people broke through a border fence in North Africa. By Friday, that number had grown further, with officials saying around 50,000 migrants had crossed into Spanish territory. Now pull up a map of Spain and you get the country everyone knows. Madrid, Barcelona, the Mediterranean coast, that Spain is in Europe. Now look south, across the water, at the top edge of Africa. There is a second patch of Spain sitting right there, on the African coastline. Its name is Ceuta. 14 kilometers of the Strait of Gibraltar separate the two, narrower than most big cities. Ceuta is not a base, not a colony, not disputed land in some grey legal zone. It is an ordinary Spanish city of about 80,000 people, with a port, an old town, apartment blocks, traffic jams, and a hill called Monte Hacho, with a lighthouse staring back at Europe. Spanish police, Spanish law, Spanish passports, full European Union membership. Someone standing in Ceuta is legally standing in the same country as someone standing in Madrid. The only unusual part is that none of it is in Europe. Zoom east along the Moroccan coast. A few hundred kilometers east along the same coastline sits Melilla, Spain's second African city. Melilla has been Spanish since 1497. Ceuta passed to the Spanish crown in 1580. Both are older than the United States, older than most flags flying today. Together, they are the only place on earth where the European Union shares a land border with Africa. Now put it together. 1. Ceuta physically sits on Africa. 2. It shares a land border with Morocco, a real one, with fences, razor wire, watchtowers, and checkpoints. 3. Crossing that border is not a step towards reaching Spain someday. It is reaching Spain immediately. Nobody sails into Ceuta.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ और
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट, ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े।
चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
QS&THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
Pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
Dr. Roma, manual winding. 4 लोगों के पास है ये।
कुछ इससे भी अनोखा।
कमला पसंद, सिर्फ एक अनोखा स्वाद। कमला पसंद पान मसाला।
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा से। MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH
Our pure
सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डवेयर मसाला।
हनी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी बार एकदम सॉलिड।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है। स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो।
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say Modi ji clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
आपको समझ ना आए तो आप घर जाके गूगल पे आप सर्च कर लेना है क्या नारा है। वो नारा देते थे वास्ते गुने हुइयां, और वो नारा देते थे इतने प्यार से, इतनी खूबसूरत तरीके से इस्तीफा मांगते थे। कहते थे जब आपसे इस्तीफा भी मांगते थे तो कहते थे कुचू पुचू इस्तीफा दे दो, आज हमारा जन्मदिन है।
विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया, तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं।
So these are the three categories: student, idiot, and andhbhakt who follows the idiot. Now,
प्रश्न है कि खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ। खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बना। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 1 अधिनियम सूत्र और विधेयक का पूरा नाम विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ।
जिन लोगों ने Coming up on Echo Drive, Kia shocks the market with a deliciously priced small EV. We've driven it. The Maruti Brezza finally goes turbo and gets its midlife facelift. And answers to your questions from me. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Echo Drive on Republic TV. I am Siddharth Panayak Patankar. Before I start, I want to say with the monsoon upon us, please check your brakes, check your tires, and please try not to use your hazard lights or high beam unnecessarily. Okay, that public service announcement out of the way, let's get to the show. Our top story this week is the new Maruti Brezza. This car. It's been a bestseller for many years, but now it adds a little extra to its portfolio. Now, while the drivetrain choices are nowhere near the Nexons or the Venues, the Brezza finally gets a good kick with the booster jet coming to the party. But is that enough of a kick? And how extensive is that midlife facelift? Ameya Naik drove the car in Mumbai to bring you all there is to know.
For all these years, the Maruti Suzuki Brezza has been the sensible shoe of the SUV segment. It has been dependable, easy to live with, and it sells by the truckload. But it is as thrilling as standing in the queue in a bank. So this facelift has exactly one job: keep everything that people always loved about the car, but still give it some character. And what Maruti did was change what's inside this bonnet. It now gets a 1-liter turbocharged petrol engine with a 6-speed manual transmission. That's as exciting as the Brezza has ever gotten. So let's find out if this shoe, or this sensible shoe, has grown a heel. First, let's be clear about what this update is and isn't. This is a facelift, a mid-life refresh, not an all-new car. It's the first proper update since the second generation Brezza arrived back in 2022. So the shape, the doors, the roofline, all carried over. What's changed is the detailing. Up front, there's a redesigned grille with dark chrome accents that gives the nose a chunkier, more grown-up look. The headlamps and the LED daytime running lights have been reworked too. On the top variants, you get dual LED projector units. The lower trims stick with halogen. There are new alloy wheels and thicker dual-tone body cladding. And here's the fun part. On the turbo cars specifically, Maruti has added red accents, a red strip in the grille, red detailing on the cladding, so it's easy to spot a turbo Brezza. My honest take, this is not going to look like a brand new car. But what it does look is a bit more premium and a bit more purposeful too. And that's just my opinion and not the spec sheet. However, the additions have made it a bit more upmarket, as I said before. But it still will just blend into your parking lot, not stand out. Inside, the theme is dark brown and black with a semi-matte soft touch finish on the dashboard. It's genuinely a nicer place to sit than before. The headline is the new floating touchscreen, a large 10.1-inch unit on the fully loaded variant running Maruti Smart Play Pro X with wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, built-in Alexa voice control and over-the-air updates. Lower variants get a smaller 7-inch screen. So this is a top trim story. Depending on how much you can spend, you can also get an electric sunroof, 64 color ambient lighting for that mood-lit cabin at night, a wireless phone charger, a 360-degree camera that stitches together a top-down view for tight parking, and a head-up display that throws your speed onto the windscreen. Space-wise, nothing has changed on the inside. There is still enough room for 5 people in this car. It is a tall car, which is why there is good headroom, decent under-thigh support, good lumbar support now, and also 3 people can easily sit at the back. What has changed is a bit on the front, where you have a new infotainment system in place and you have toggle switches down there with also climate control. So yes, all the changes inside are positive, and yes, this looks more premium now. On the safety front, the whole range now gets 6 airbags as standard, along with electronic stability control and hill hold assist. The turbo variants add kit-like blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, front parking sensors and a tire pressure monitor. And of course, the cherry on top of the cake is the 5-star BNCAP rating. In 8 years, the Brezza has moved from a 4-star to a 5-star and now is Maruti's 6th car to get a full 5-star rating from BNCAP. This one gets a 1-liter 3-cylinder turbo petrol motor. Finally! And it makes about 109 brake horsepower and 170 Newton meters of torque. Quick nerd note for all of you out there. This one is the same engine that goes into the Fronx, but in the Brezza, it makes more power. You also get a 6-speed manual transmission only in the Brezza. The Fronx gets a torque converter, which is again a 6-speed torque converter. Why it didn't make it here? Well, I still can't get my head around it. You have the technology, you can use it. But the 6-speed auto is only with the naturally aspirated engine and not with the turbo. Really not understanding the strategy here. Let me translate the numbers. Torque is the muscle that gets you moving from low speeds, and this engine has meaty torque available quite low in the rev range, which matters enormously in city traffic. But there's a problem. Now, turbo lag. Yes, all turbocharged engines have that, and this is no different. There is nothing the engine has to offer till about 2000 RPM, and it's only after 2000 RPM that the turbo kicks in and really pushes you forward. Now, if you're in the city and doing 40 to 80 kilometers per hour on a regular basis, that's going to be the massive power band, which is why you won't feel that there is a turbo lag in that power band. There's the 1.5 liter version too, which also comes with CNG. I didn't get a chance to drive that one, but I was told that the calibration is no different than before. For the turbo though, it's very different. That 6-speed gearbox is very easygoing, and that clutch too is very light and has a shorter travel as well. So in traffic conditions, your mind is at ease because you won't be stressed out. And the throws of the gearbox also are shorter. So you know what? Once you slot them in, it's not an effort. So Maruti Suzuki has managed to take care of all of these things. The Brezza has always ridden well for a small SUV, and that carries over. Speed breakers and broken city roads are absorbed with a reassuring thud rather than a spine-jarring crash. It stays composed and doesn't fidget over rough patches. Yes, there is a hint of body roll. It's a tall SUV, and it makes it quite evident when you try and drive it a bit more aggressively, especially when you take a corner. It tells you that, hey, I'm not a race car, I'm a normal subcompact SUV, so drive me accordingly. And you should. But I have a problem with the suspension. The earlier suspension was more tuned for comfort. This one is on the firmer side. That's a bit tricky because every time you go upon, say, rumbling strips, it reacts badly, like this. And it makes the person behind very uncomfortable. On efficiency, Maruti's official ARI certified figure for the turbo manual is 20.47 kilometers per liter, which is excellent. So, does the turbo change what the Brezza is? Yes, more than I expected. And the starting price too is something very intriguing. 7,39,000 rupees is the introductory offer. And that's for the turbo petrol. It makes the Brezza the most affordable subcompact SUV in the segment. And I am discounting the Magnite and the Kiger here. But among its rivals, the Brezza stands tall. The Brezza now tops out at 13,71,000 rupees, which again makes it a very strong candidate among the subcompact SUVs. And should you buy one? Yes, you should.
So, are you excited enough or not? Buy the updated Maruti Brezza. Tell us. Send in an email or DM me on Instagram or X. A quick look at some news this week, and it's dominated by Honda, who after months of quiet has just made a lot of noise, and I mean that in the best way possible. Honda Two Wheelers India is waking up from its hibernation with an absolutely massive lineup, 10 new models headed for Indian roads. We're talking all sorts of segments. The Rebel Cruisers, we finally get a CB500, there's the ADV 160 Flex Fuel scooter, an all-new electric scooter, the QC3, and even off-road machines, the XR300 Twins. Honda is throwing everything it's got at the market in the coming months, and it's high time too. And it's not just two wheels making headlines, Honda Cars is stepping up too, finally launching its new flagship, the ZR-V hybrid SUV in India. The price tag, it's a jaw-dropping 47,99,000 rupees ex-showroom. This one's a direct import, and get this, the very first batch is already sold out. Okay, on now to that Ceros EV from Kia. Now, the Ceros itself may not have quite fared the way that Kia is used to all of its launches turning into hits in our market, but now it's back in an all-electric avatar with some killer pricing, the promise of efficiency and good drivability. There's also an unbeatable short-term buyback being offered. Sameer Contractor spent time with the new car in Bangalore.
If you're looking at a budget electric vehicle for around the 15 lakh rupee mark, your options have been the Tata Nexon EV, MG Windsor EV and the Mahindra XUV 3XO EV. Good options, but now there's a new competitor challenging that status quo. The new Kia Ceros EV is the automaker's most accessible electric offering for India and its second locally developed electric model after the Karen's Clavis EV. This one is for the masses. The Ceros EV looks identical to its petrol and diesel counterparts, and to be frank, it was always envisioned that way. It's based on the K1 reinforced platform that was supposed to have multiple powertrain options: petrol, diesel and electric, but not hybrid, which is why you see the design language is nearly identical. There are no distinctive changes to make it look electric, barring the charging flap on the left fender and the alloy wheels. It is an extension that way of the same Ceros family. The color palette is extensive with 9 monotone color options and an X-Line package on the top trim with an all-black finish. We are driving the Kia Ceros EV extended range version, which means this one makes 169 brake horsepower, while peak torque remains the same at 255 Nm. Power delivery is linear. This is a very adaptive, very easy car to drive. That will be something that will probably resonate with more family buyers in this segment. At the same time, the steering feedback is quite nice. It's light at lower speeds and weighs up nicely at higher speeds. So when you're driving it in the city, it's easy to maneuver. And it has a certain planted feel that I think lets me do higher speeds very confidently. The cabin is near identical to what you see on the petrol and diesel Ceros. You get the triple screen layout with a small screen for the climate panel. There are physical buttons for the infotainment system, air conditioning and reverse camera. The steering wheel gets a lot of buttons too, including a dedicated one for drive modes. I really like what the cabin has to offer. It is quite nice, spacious and definitely very well appointed. Quality levels are fantastic and this is a very comfortable cabin in the overall sense. Be it the seats, be it the driving position, all of it feels nice. On the feature front, it's the X-Line or the top variant that gets all the bells and whistles. We are driving the HTX Plus, so this one does not get level 2 ADAS or 360-degree camera. Yes! A feature like 360-degree camera is relegated only to the top variant, which makes the mid trims a lot less valuable. Biggest USP on the Ceros has been the cabin space. Just look at that legroom. That continues with the electric version as well. I'm happy to report that this is a massive cabin. Really love the space and the way Kia has done with it. You also get this massive dual pane sunroof, which adds to the sense of space. You get sun blinds that you see here and rear ventilated seats, which were a segment first and continues with the Ceros EV as well. The ride quality is plush for the most part and the suspension is softly sprung for a pliant ride. On well-paved roads, the Ceros EV will simply glide over undulations. The battery pack placed under the floorboard adds to a lower center of gravity and offers a more stable feel. There is body roll on a sharp bend, but nothing too dramatic. Braking is sure-footed, the bite at the pedal is progressive, and the Ceros EV comes to a halt with confidence. Kia claims a range of 526 km on the extended range version, which is the segment best so far. The Ceros EV employs the biggest battery pack over rivals, giving it a significant edge and a highly usable real-world range. The Ceros EV faces its biggest challenge from the Tata Nexon EV, which consistently remains a popular choice. While the Nexon EV gets a smaller battery pack, it is substantially more affordable, with buyers saving a good 2.5 lakh rupees over the top-end Ceros EV. And at nearly 20 lakh rupees, it overlaps into bigger cars such as the Tata Sierra EV, Curve EV and Mahindra BE6. The MG Windsor Pro works out to be more affordable over the top-spec Ceros EV. With an industry-leading buyback program of up to 80% after 3 years, the Ceros EV just might return more value over rivals in the long run. Add to that a practical cabin and range, and the status quo definitely seems to be shaken in the segment.
So the Ceros EV is quite a surprise. Now, let me take some of your questions. This first one's really interesting, very close to my heart. Do they crash test the top line variant or the one with the bells and whistles, or the one with limited safety features, the bottom variant, or somewhere in the middle? Because the lowest spec car ain't no 5-star for sure. This, of course, is about crash testing. So this is an excellent question. I'm very happy to always clarify these things. The global norm for any NCAP is to always crash test the lowest or entry variant of any car model. That way, any score that it achieves applies to the whole range. Now, we've seen at times that's not true at Bharat NCAP, but there's always a fine print attached which mentions what standard equipment on that variant came into play for that score to be achieved and what all variants have that equipment. Meaning, the B NCAP score always mentions specifically which variants it covers, if not all variants. And so, yes, typically the lowest spec car is the one with the star rating for the most part. Next question is from Tango. What about Rebel 500, which came in 2025 and was sold out? Is Honda planning a cruiser version of this engine, just like Harley Davidson announced the Sprint? Please comment. Now, you are referring to the Rebel 500 itself. If, you think about it, it's already the cruiser version of Honda's 471cc parallel twin engine, same family as the CB500. Now, it launched in India in 2025, like you said. There was a small batch of CKD bikes and it sold out very quickly. Now Honda has brought all of these bikes back. They are localized for India. This includes the CB500 and the Rebel 500. That's what I just told you earlier in the show has got launched. There's no indication of another cruiser using this same engine family. A smaller displacement Rebel 300 is also coming, of course. Next question. And, this is again a bike question. I like it. Any CNG bikes available in India? Now, there is only one CNG bike available in India. It's a world first that came in 2024. It is offered in 3 variants. That's the Bajaj Freedom CNG 125, of course. It's offered in 3 variants. Prices go from 91,500, top off at about 1,11,000 rupees. Other manufacturers have said that they're working on their own CNG bikes, but so far there's not a peep on anything market launch worthy from anyone else. Of course, people are talking about flex fuel quite a lot. Next question is from Tawfiq Ahmed. I am confused to buy petrol or diesel Harrier. I have a hatchback for the city and the Harrier petrol is what I'm thinking about only for long trips. Overall usage would be less than 8,000 kilometers yearly, but I'm scared of ethanol issues and at the same time isobutanol and DPF issues for diesel. Please advise. Hi Tawfiq. Alright, these dilemmas and doubts, everybody has them. Now at under 8,000 kilometers a year, you're not really doing enough running for fuel costs to become the deciding factor. So pick the powertrain that best suits your intended use or what you enjoy driving the. Since the Harrier will mainly be for long trips, as you've said, I would pick the diesel. Its torque and the relaxed highway sort of overall style will suit your usage better. I also wouldn't worry too much about isobutanol today. That adapting will also not be as tough as what we've seen with ethanol. And because you won't be using it in the city, DPF issues are unlikely to crop up anyway. So for your kind of use case, the diesel is the better choice. So do you have any questions for me that you'd like for me to take on the show? Send them in at this email ID or you can DM me on Instagram or X. With that, it is time for me to say goodbye, but I promise to be back next week with a whole lot more. There is a lot more still coming up here on the channel. Stay tuned for that. And promise me you'll wear your seatbelts and your helmets. Take care.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल
बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा सिप, असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे। बड़े बड़े इम्तिहानों से गुजरता है, वक्त तराशता है जिसे, तो जाने क्या क्या न करता है। जब तक खुशबू सबसे बेहतरीन न बन जाए, आराम के लिए नहीं ठहरता है। जब तक लाजवाब न बन जाए, उसे नहीं इत्मीनान है। तभी तो रिचमंड बनना नहीं आसान है।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but you know, we got to smack them a little bit.
The United States has launched airstrikes on Iran hours after President Donald Trump warned Tehran of a strong military response. The strikes mark the first major American attack since Trump paused the bombing campaign last week. Trump had earlier vowed to hit Iran very hard after an Iranian missile attack on an American base in Jordan. Within hours, US forces launched retaliatory strikes, escalating tensions across the Middle East.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized, but you know, we got to smack them a little bit. Yeah, I think more so that, yeah, because it was another smaller event. But no, they sent 8,000 mile-an-hour missiles at us, and fortunately we had our people operating the greatest equipment in the world, namely the Patriot system. Think of it, 5 missiles going 8,600 miles an hour, big ones, coming right at us, and all 5 were shot down. How about that, right? Pretty good. Nobody else could do that but us, yeah.
US forces began launching strikes against Iran at 8 p.m. ET today. The strikes are a powerful response to yesterday's attack.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े। चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
QS and THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो।
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। मसाला प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा सिप, असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say Modi ji clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
आपको समझ ना आए तो आप घर जाके गूगल पे आप सर्च कर लेना ये क्या नारा है। वो नारा देते थे वास्ते गुने हुइयां, और वो नारा देते थे इतने प्यार से, इतनी खूबसूरत तरीके से इस्तीफा मांगते थे। कहते थे जब आपसे इस्तीफा भी मांगते थे तो कहते थे कुचू पुचू इस्तीफा दे दो, आज हमारा जन्मदिन है।
विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA हो गया। MIA क्या है? MIA मिसिंग इन एक्शन। तो 37 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं किया, तो कुछ तो करना चाहिए। जंतर मंतर तो नहीं जा सकते, तो हम जाते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के आवास के सामने और वहां पर जाके आंदोलन करते हैं।
So these are the three categories: student, idiot, and andhbhakt who follows the idiot. Now,
प्रश्न है कि खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ। खंड 2 से 5 विधेयकांग बना। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 1 अधिनियम सूत्र और विधेयक का पूरा नाम विधेयकांग बने, जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ गए, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ।
जिन लोगों ने विद्यार्थियों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ किया, वे जेलों में सड़ रहे हैं। हमने फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट बना दिया।
अध्यक्ष जी, जहां पर कांग्रेस शासित यूपीए ने पॉलिसी वैक्यूम करा, वहीं पर अगर मैं जेनजी की भाषा को बोरो करूं, then I will have to say Modi ji clocked it and provided a legislative solution.
जेनजी की भाषा में मैं, अरे सुनो यार, सुनने की आदत रखो। जेनजी की भाषा में विपक्ष के आंदोलन को एक समराइज करना चाहूंगा मैं जेनजी के भाषा में। 37 दिन तक तो ये जंतर मंतर नहीं गए, तो इनको MIA।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Republic. I'm Aditi Bhardwaj. Lots more lined up in this news edition. We'll talk about why Ramayana, Ranbir Kapoor's star, is in trouble and other big stories of the day. Keep watching. Let's start with the headlines. Security beefed up in Kashmir after the cowardly attack on Hindus. Kulgam police reviewing security camera surveillance following the terror attack. National Conference President Farooq Abdullah's controversial statement on terror attack in Kulgam. Even after Lashkar proxy claims responsibility, Farooq Abdullah doubts. BJP hits back, says this is the opposition which is misleading the people. India's medal rush continues at Commonwealth Games of 2026. 7 golds in boxing take India's medal tally to 39 on historic day 10. Grand welcome at New Delhi Airport for Indian medalists who return home from Commonwealth Games after scripting history. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches Nasha Mukt Yuva for Viksit Bharat Sankalp Abhiyan. 100-week anti-drug campaign begins. Starting off with the biggest political controversy, and the Bollywood seems to be no unknown person for this. Nitesh Tiwari's ambitious mythological drama Ramayana has once again landed into trouble. Ram Leela body seeks pre-release of Ramayana over character depiction. The body says that they just need to ensure that the characters are represented in the right light. There is no history that has been distorted. Ramayana portrays the journey of Lord Ram and Ma Sita. That's why they are concerned about the portrayal. They say that this is just to ensure that there is nothing wrong in the movie. And joining me right now is Arjun Kumar, president of Ram Leela Mahasangh. The body has written to the filmmakers. Arjun जी बहुत-बहुत शुक्रिया हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. बताइए आपके क्या कंसर्न्स है इस मूवी को लेके. रामायणा में रणबीर कपूर जो हैं वो लॉर्ड राम का रोल प्ले कर रहे हैं. साई पल्लवी सीता माता का रोल प्ले कर रही हैं. क्या प्रॉब्लम है रामलीला महासंघ को इससे?
देखिए, हमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. हम इस फिल्म का स्वागत करेंगे. हमारा सिर्फ कंसर्न यही है कि पिछली बार जो आदि पुरुष फिल्म आई थी और जिस आदि पुरुष फिल्म के अंदर हमने उसकी प्रमोशन भी की थी और प्रभास जी भी हमारे लव कुश रामलीला कमेटी के लीला स्थल लाल किले के ऊपर आए थे. टी सीरीज के ऑनर्स का भी हमने स्वागत किया था और उस फिल्म के अंदर जो हिंदुओं की भावनाओं को आहत हुई, उनको ठेस पहुंची, उन्होंने बिल्कुल जो लंका होनी चाहिए सोने की वो काली लंका दिखाई. और किस प्रकार उन्होंने इस प्रकार के चेहरे दिखाए जैसे कि मुगलों के लुटेरे मंगोल के वे आए हुए हों. चमड़े का जो इस्तेमाल किया उससे करोड़ों हिंदुओं की भावनाओं को ठेस पहुंची और यही कारण रहा कि इतने बड़े मेगा बजट की फिल्म वो फ्लॉप हुई. यही हमारा कंसर्न है कि जो हमने रामायण का ट्रेलर देखा, रामायण के ट्रेलर के अंदर भी हमें वो भाव नजर नहीं आए. वो जो ड्रेसेस हैं वो ड्रेसेस भी हमारी पुरानी कथाओं के हिसाब से वो नहीं लगती कि कहीं भी वो फिट हो सके. तो हमारा कंसर्न सिर्फ यही है कि रामलीला कमेटी के लोगों को, दिल्ली में 750 रामलीलाएं हैं. गोस्वामी तुलसीदास जी के जमाने से दिल्ली के अंदर रामलीलाएं होती आ रही हैं. हजारों साल पुराना हमारा इतिहास है. हम नहीं चाहते कि हिंदुओं की धार्मिक भावनाओं को ठेस पहुंचे. अगर रामलीला के अंदर कोई ऐसी चीज है जो विवादित है और देखने के बाद उसको ठीक किया जा सकता है तो हम रामलीला की प्रमोशन भी करेंगे, स्वागत भी करेंगे और हजारों राम भक्तों को रामलीला देखने के लिए प्रेरित भी करेंगे. अगर फिल्म को नहीं दिखाया गया और फिल्म के अंदर कोई कंटेंट्स ऐसे हैं जो हिंदुओं की भावनाओं को ठेस पहुंचाते हैं तो निश्चित रूप से ये हमारी चेतावनी है कि इस फिल्म को पिक्चर हॉल के ऊपर नहीं चलने दिया जाएगा.
पर अर्जुन जी, सेंसर बोर्ड ने ऑलरेडी यूनिवर्सल सर्टिफिकेट दे दिया है. क्या आपको लगता है कि सेंसर बोर्ड के अलावा भी अब एक हिंदू बॉडी का सेंसरशिप अलग से आना चाहिए ऐसी मूवीज के लिए?
नहीं, हमें कोई सेंसरशिप वाले जो बोर्ड है उसने तो आदि पुरुष को भी दी थी. आदि पुरुष फिल्म के अंदर जब इस किस्म की चीजें थी तभी तो इतनी मेगा बजट की जो है फिल्म फ्लॉप हुई. क्या इस फिल्म के अंदर अमिताभ बच्चन नहीं है? क्या इस फिल्म के अंदर हेमा मालिनी नहीं है? क्या इसके अंदर अरुण गोविल नहीं है? भगवान राम की तरह अरुण गोविल को पूरी दुनिया के अंदर देखते हैं और अरुण गोविल ने खुद लव कुश रामलीला कमेटी के मंच के ऊपर आकर कहा था कि मैं पूरी दुनिया में जहां भी जाता हूं लोग मुझे राम की नजर से देखते हैं. तो हम चाहते हैं कि जो भाव फिल्म के अंदर होना चाहिए, अगर फिल्म के अंदर कोई त्रुटि है तो उसको समय से पहले ठीक कर लिया जाए. हमारा सिर्फ इतना कहना है. हम कोई सर्टिफिकेट देने की बात नहीं कर रहे.
ओके, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अर्जुन सिंह जी हमें जुड़ने के लिए, हमें बताने के लिए. सो दैट्स द कंट्रोवर्सी दैट इज सराउंडिंग रामायणा बिफोर इट्स रिलीज. द हिंदू बॉडीज हैव रिटन टू द फिल्म मेकर्स डिमांडिंग दैट देयर शुड बी अ प्री रिलीज सो दैट एनी पोर्ट्रेयल ऑफ ऑब्जेक्शनेबल नेचर कैन बी रिमूव्ड फ्रॉम द मूवी. बट सो फार द रिस्पॉन्स फ्रॉम द फिल्म फ्रेटर्निटी इज अवेटेड. Moving on now to the south, where two states are battling for Kaveri water. Karnataka Chief Minister today held an all-party meeting where he said that the suggestions were good and everybody has come to a resolution saying that the Mekadatu project is the permanent solution. He said the Supreme Court has already delivered its judgment and the central government has also given its response. Taking all that into consideration, He said that the states, both of them, should focus towards saving water and not wasting any more time. And this is not about Tamil Nadu and Karnataka getting less or more, but it is about two states peacefully sharing the water of the Kaveri River.
As far as Kaveri is concerned, I think you know that we got an order from the CWMA also. Finally, they stamped the order given by the request of the institutions. They demanded about 9 TMC of water. Ultimately, for 15 days, 4 TMC of water has been ordered. And in connected to that, we were supposed to leave 3,500 cusics every day for 15 days. We are finding very difficult, but all your prayers and all our prayers in the interest of farmers for both the states, some good rains have come. And when I am very happy to inform you, all of you, that today the inflow in Kabini is about 24,000 TMC of the cusics of water. KRS is with a record of 22,000 cusics is flowing, inflow. Hemavati about 11,884 cusics has been flowing. Harangi about 10,430. Almost 67 to 68,000 of cusics is been, inflow is being coming. And as far as drinking water is concerned, for all the Kaveri Basin, including Bangalore, we need about 36 TMC of water. It is a must. And 4 TMC we have to keep for evaporation and small internal problems may arise. The central government and the regulatory authorities have a watch, including the Tamil Nadu. We can't hide out anything. So they have advised us to make use of the Mekedatu Supreme Court order which has come, which is the law of the land. It is the law of the land what has been given to us. Definitely it is our bound duty to see that we release 177 TMC of water, 0.25 TMC of water.
Now, viewers, in a record-breaking weekend for India at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, the medal tally now stands at 39 with 13 golds. After their mega feat, Indian athletes arrived at Delhi airport today after scripting history at the Commonwealth Games. The champions were given a grand welcome on their returning home, and Republic spoke to all the champions. Take a look.
मैं बहुत ज़्यादा खुश हूँ। इंडिया के लिए मैंने मेडल दिया है और मैं बहुत प्राउड फील करती हूँ। मैं ऐसा मणिपुर से मैं बिलोंग करती हूँ, तो मैं ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा खुश हूँ। मैंने इंडिया के लिए कुछ करके दिखाया। थैंक यू।
ये तो हम बहुत खुशी, क्या बोलूँगे, ज़रा खुशी तो खुशी ज़रा हो गया, क्योंकि इतना सपोर्ट करेंगे तो हम कैसे। ज़्यादा खुशी नेवी को देखते हुए या मेथी को देखते हुए? नहीं, नेवी कोई सेम है, इक्वल है मेरे तरफ से, हम एक ही साथ है, इसलिए हम एक ही मेडल लेके दुनिया के लिए सेम है।
निशिकांता, आपके पिताजी इस समय जोधपुर में अस्पताल में है, ब्लड कैंसर से जंग लड़ रहे हैं। कैसा लगेगा उनको जब उनको पता चलेगा कि आप देश को गर्व महसूस करवा रहे हैं? वो तो बहुत दुखी के बात हूँ पापा। अभी पापा बहुत खुशी है। पापा पहले से बहुत बेटर हो गया, अभी ठीक में चल रहा, बहुत बेटर है। एक समय था जब आप बतौर मजदूर भी काम करते थे, 150 रुपए दिन की दिहाड़ी पर भी आपने काम किया है, और अब जब आप देश के लिए सिल्वर मेडल जीत कर लाए हैं एक इंटरनेशनल स्टेज पर, आगे की रणनीति आपके लिए क्या होगी? ये मैंने करके दिखाया, क्योंकि मैं पहले डाउन था, बीच में ब्रेक हुआ था। अभी जो मैंने टारगेट है, मेरा सपना है, मैंने करके दिखाया। लवप्रीत, कैसा लगता है आपको देश को एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय लेवल पर मेडल जिताकर, और अभी इंडियन नेवी हम देख सकते हैं कि वो भी खुद आपको सम्मानित करने के लिए यहाँ पे मौजूद है, तो आप कैसा महसूस कर रहे हैं?
मैं पहला ही सारे का बहुत बहुत थैंक यू करना चाहता जी, अपने डिपार्टमेंट का सारे जिन्हें भी अपने आए हैं स्वागत कर ली, सारा धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा।
अपनी तैयारी के बारे में बताइए कि कितनी लंबी तैयारी थी और आगे की रणनीति क्या होगी, क्योंकि कॉमनवेल्थ गेम जाहिर तौर पर एक बड़ा मंच है, पर इसके आगे क्या?
सर जिदा ही हमने अपने इतों 2-2.5-3 साल तो इतने ट्रेनिंग कर रहे जी, अपने वेट लिफ्टिंग वॉरियर्स अकेडमी मोदी नगर। हाँ जी,
उन लोगों के लिए, क्योंकि 11 में से 8 लोग कम से कम एक मेडल लेकर आए हैं देश के लिए। कैसा महसूस करते हैं आप पूरी टीम के लिए, क्योंकि पूरी वेट लिफ्टिंग टीम में 11 लोगों ने हिस्सा लिया था, जिनमें से 8 लोग में से कम एक मेडल जीतकर देश के लिए लेकर आए हैं।
सर मैं सारे जितना भी बच्चे अपने प्लेयर सारे वधिया मेडल आए, सारे 8 मेडल आए अपनी टीम के। सारे ने मैं अपने जिन्ने भी सपोर्टर जिन्ने भी मेहनत करवाई कोच साहब होना सारे धन्यवाद करता हूँ।
जॉइनिंग मी ऑन द ब्रॉडकास्ट इज हरजिंदर सिंह। मैम, कैसा लग रहा है देश का अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर प्रतिनिधित्व करते हुए, और पूरे देश को आप पर गर्व है, रिपब्लिक मीडिया नेटवर्क आप पर बहुत गर्व महसूस करता है, कैसा लग रहा है आपको?
हमें बहुत खुशी हो रही है, हम इंडिया के लिए मेडल लेके आए हैं, हमारे लिए बहुत प्राउड की बात है।
व्हाट इज अप नेक्स्ट? इसके बाद किस चीज़ पर आप अपनी नजर गड़ा के बैठी हुई हैं? एक कॉमनवेल्थ मेडल आ चुका है, इसके आगे आपके लिए क्या प्लान ऑफ एक्शन होगा?
आगे वाले जो भी कंपटीशन होंगे उसके लिए हम अच्छी तैयारी करेंगे, होप इससे अच्छे हम परफॉर्मेंस देके आएँ।
मैम, सिर्फ आपने ही नहीं बल्कि 11 लोगों ने इस कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स में वेट लिफ्टिंग के लिए पार्टिसिपेट करा था, उनमें से 8 मेडल्स भारतीय कंटिजेंट लेकर आया है। तो कैसा है ये भारतीय वेट लिफ्टिंग के लिए और भारतीय एथलीट्स के लिए?
ये हमारे लिए बहुत प्राउड की बात है कि इंडियन वेट लिफ्टिंग ने अपना योगदान दिया है कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स में इतने मेडल देके। थैंक यू।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
Now, a restaurant in Glasgow has sparked controversy after star boxer Lovelina alleged that napkins used by the establishment featured incomplete map of India. The restaurant recently hosted members of the Indian contingent for a dinner following their successful campaign at the ongoing Commonwealth Games. Lovelina pointed out that the map on the napkins did not include the Northeast region. Backing her, BFI President Ajay Singh said even Kashmir is not shown in full and urged the restaurant to rectify the mistake at the earliest. Listen in.
प्लीज आप लोग बुरा मत मानिए, मुझे ये थोड़ा सा बुरा लगा। ये इंडिया मैप में हमारे नॉर्थ ईस्ट नहीं है, बाहर भी वहाँ लगा हुआ है कि हमारे भारत का मैप को कट कर दिया। हम नॉर्थ ईस्ट वालों के लिए बहुत इतना ही बोलना था। प्लीज नेक्स्ट टाइम से ये थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखिए। थैंक यू सो मच।
Shifting our focus to Northeast, well, Assam continues to battle the aftermath of severe floods. Though the situation has shown signs of improvement, the number of affected people has come down to 1.78 lakh, while the death toll remains at 82. However, 7 districts are still impacted with the rivers flowing above danger levels. Take a look at our report.
Assam's flood situation is showing marginal improvement, with the number of affected people dropping to 1.78 lakh. The death toll remains at 82, with no fresh casualties reported in the last 24 hours. 7 districts are still battling the flood impact. The Dikhau and Dhansiri rivers continue to flow above danger levels, keeping authorities on alert. Assam's flood crisis is fueled by heavy monsoon rains, the mighty Brahmaputra system, massive silt deposits, and relentless riverbank erosion. Nearly 40% of Assam lies in the Brahmaputra floodplains. During monsoon, swollen rivers spill over, inundating homes, farms, and infrastructure.
Breaking news coming in at this, fresh provocation by the Pakistani army after fresh firing was reported in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. This comes on the day of the elections in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The firing was reported in the Subri Lake area of Muzaffarabad. Several protesters have been injured in this fresh firing and human rights violation by Pakistan. Remember, this has been habitual of the Pakistani army and the establishment that they continue to open fire, attack and target civilians in the Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. These are the visuals of that firing incident which happened earlier in the day. The injuries have been reported. Several people have been injured. The protesters are demanding azadi from Pakistan, but Pakistan refuses to accept their demand. Joining me now is Gursimran. Gursimran, tell us how many people, despite army's brutality, have come out to vote, or are they still boycotting the elections?
See, it is for the first time that we have seen that the Election Commission of Pakistan has not released any official data with regards to this ongoing elections. They have said that a large number of people, this is far from the reality, what the photos and the visuals that have emerged from BOGK speak, but they have claimed that a large number of people have voted. That is what the official statement is. Without going into the percentage, they have not shared it, but they said that this has happened. However, now coming to the situation that is prevailing, it is very clear that the people have decided to abstain and stay away from what is happening there. That is the election, and the Pakistan's desperate attempts to ensure that the elections are legitimized in the region, that has not happened, and that is one of the reasons that we are witnessing that the Pakistani army is irked with the people. They are resorting to shelling on the people, killing them, committing atrocities on them, and they are trying to prove their point that if you have not voted for us, you are going to face it.
Right. Thank you so much, Gursimran, for those details. And moving on now to the politics over Kulgam terror attack. Farooq Abdullah's remarks have triggered a fresh controversy where he said that he doesn't know who is behind these killings when the government in the centre says that there is zero tolerance against centre and the borders are secured. But the BJP has hit out hard against Farooq Abdullah, saying that this is the opposition which is habitual of lying and misleading people. Sample the reactions.
कुलगाम में निर्दोष प्रवासी मजदूरों की हत्या एक जघन्य आतंकीय कृत्य है जो कठोर निंदनीय है, अमानवीय घटना है। ऐसे समय में आतंकियों के और उनके आकाओं पर सवाल उठाने के बजाय, उसका विरोध करने के बजाय संदेह और भ्रम फैलाने का फारूक अब्दुल्ला का प्रयास बेहद गैर जिम्मेदाराना, पाकिस्तान प्रायोजित आतंकी और पाकिस्तान में बैठे उनके आकाओं को बचाने का प्रोपोगंडा है। अब्दुल्ला परिवार को पाकिस्तान के पीआरओ की भूमिका निभाना बंद करना चाहिए। मत रहिए पीआरओ की भूमिका में। देश की जनता ये जानती है कि आतंकवाद के विरुद्ध ये नेता दो शब्द भी स्पष्ट रूप से नहीं बोलते हैं। घटना निंदनीय है, अमानवीय है।
देखिए, पुलिस के अफसर को भी अभी उन्होंने शहीद किया, ये जो मजदूरों को भी इन्होंने गोली मारी। मैं तो यही कहूंगा कि भाई पहले बताओ ये मारने वाले कौन है। आप तो कहते हैं कि आतंकवाद खत्म हो गया, तो अगर आतंकवाद खत्म हो गया तो ये मारने वाला कौन है? इसको जरा साबित लाइए ना, सामने लाइए, हम भी देखें, दुनिया देखे। नहीं तो यार लोग मारे जाते हैं और कुछ नहीं कहा जाता है, टेररिस्ट ने मार दिया। अरे आया कहाँ से? बॉर्डर तो पूरा अंडर कंट्रोल है, कौन है मारने वाला?
सर, कहा जाता था कि हालात बदलेंगे 2019 के बाद।
आप देख रहे हैं कितने बदल गए हैं। आतंकवाद क्या खत्म हो गया? जो सारे दुनिया में डंडूरा मारते हैं, हम तो कहते हैं हमारा स्टेटहुड वापस करो। स्टेटहुड वापस दे दीजिए, क्यों नहीं दे रहे?
Now, in exile for over 3 decades, Bangladeshi author Taslima Nasreen has returned to India. In Kolkata, she spoke about the atrocities on Hindus in Bangladesh. She also highlighted how Hindus are being targeted and persecuted in Bangladesh, and this is not fair. She also requested the Yunus government to lift the ban on Sheikh Hasina's party, calling the ban unjustified, and she also asked the people to not come into the to not come into this disguise of the opposition, which claims that she left India on her own. Remember, her controversial books are the ones which forced her to first leave Bangladesh, the Lajja book of Taslima Nasreen, and then several articles written by her in India also sparked controversy, after which protests broke out and she had to leave Kolkata as well. Listen in to what she had to say.
এক সরকার আমাকে বের করে দিয়েছিলেন, দ্বিতীয় সরকার আমাকে আসতে দেননি, তৃতীয় সরকার আমাকে আসতে দিয়েছেন। তো তিনটে পার্থক্য তো আছে। এখন সেই পার্থক্যটা না দেখে এই যে আমি আসতে পারলাম সেটাকেই আমার মনে হয় সেলিব্রেট করা উচিত, এবং আমি খুবই আনন্দিত যে আমি আসতে পেরেছি। এবং শুধু আমি বিশ্বাস করতে চাই যে এই সরকার মত প্রকাশের অধিকারে বিশ্বাস করেন, এই সরকার বাক স্বাধীনতায় বিশ্বাস করেন। তবে আমি আশা করি দুই দেশের সম্পর্ক বন্ধুত্বপূর্ণ হোক। আমরা ৭১ দেখেছি, ৭১-এ কি করে ভারত সাহায্য করেছে বাংলাদেশ তৈরি হওয়ার জন্যে। সুতরাং আমরা যারা মুক্তিযুদ্ধে বিশ্বাস করি এবং আমরা যারা বাংলাদেশের স্বাধীনতায় বিশ্বাস করি, তারা ভারতের এই অবদানকে আমরা সবসময় স্বীকার করি। কিন্তু কিছু পাকিস্তানপন্থী জিহাদি আছে বাংলাদেশে, তারা এই ভারতকে শত্রু বলে মনে করে।
A major migration crisis has unfolded at the Morocco-Spain border as thousands of migrants attempted to reach the Spanish enclave of Ceuta in search of better opportunities. Spanish authorities responded by deploying troops to restore order and tighten security, while border crossings were restricted to prevent further arrivals. Local authorities described the incident as one of the most serious border challenges in Ceuta's history. For many migrants, the journey reflected the hope of escaping economic hardship in Morocco, but the reality is completely different. This also sparked after Spain's Supreme Court said that migrants who are coming via sea route cannot be deported easily without following proper legal process. Take a look at this report.
This week, Spain has been all over international headlines. Reports of thousands of migrants entering the country in a matter of days, visuals of crowds breaking through barriers, chaos at a border, deaths being reported. For most people watching this from outside Europe, the natural picture that comes to mind is a boat crossing. People sailing across open sea to reach Spain. That picture is where the confusion begins. Because the Spain that is actually seeing this crisis right now is not the Spain most people picture on a map at all. On 30th July, a crowd Spanish authorities estimated at around 6,000 people broke through a border fence in North Africa. By Friday, that number had grown further, with officials saying around 50,000 migrants had crossed into Spanish territory. Now pull up a map of Spain and you get the country everyone knows. Madrid, Barcelona, the Mediterranean coast, that Spain is in Europe. Now look south, across the water, at the top edge of Africa. There is a second patch of Spain sitting right there, on the African coastline. Its name is Ceuta. 14 kilometers of the Strait of Gibraltar separate the two, narrower than most big cities. Ceuta is not a base, not a colony, not disputed land in some grey legal zone. It is an ordinary Spanish city of about 80,000 people, with a port, an old town, apartment blocks, traffic jams, and a hill called Monte Hacho, with a lighthouse staring back at Europe. Spanish police, Spanish law, Spanish passports, full European Union membership. Someone standing in Ceuta is legally standing in the same country as someone standing in Madrid. The only unusual part is that none of it is in Europe. Zoom east along the Moroccan coast. A few hundred kilometers east along the same coastline sits Melilla, Spain's second African city. Melilla has been Spanish since 1497. Ceuta passed to the Spanish crown in 1580. Both are older than the United States, older than most flags flying today.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
QS and THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized. But, you know, we got to smack them a little bit.
The United States has launched airstrikes on Iran hours after President Donald Trump warned Tehran of a strong military response. The strikes mark the first major American attack since Trump paused the bombing campaign last week. Trump had earlier vowed to hit Iran very hard after an Iranian missile attack on an American